Hey, clock back in. Yes, I said clock. Clock back in with Type 40 Live, the live stream Doctor Who magazine show across your view screen here on Rumble, X, YouTube, and Facebook, covering all things Doctor Who. Joined by a live chat full of fellow friends, fans, and companions just like you. We're going to cover as much of it as we possibly can, as much as you can take. And yeah, Millie Gibson, she made a big entrance, didn't she, to the Whoniverse a couple of years ago now, late 2022? Something like that. Now it's all over, and she's made her debut at the world's biggest Doctor Who convention. We've got the news, the gossip, the pics, all the silly jokes from Galley, plus our special blend of news, views, nostalgia, and banter, and more. You're welcome. It's the Big Who Type 40 Live. And I've been messing and modging and slapping and banging. And then I went and worked on my console here. It's been given the what do they call it? The baptism of fire right now by a team of Time Lord experts who are seeing if anything is connected. Now, I didn't do this, of course I didn't. I'm not even practical enough to assemble something like this, but I do love a homemade TARDIS. We're going to see what we can make of this as we get along. Hello, everybody. Hello, I'm Dan Hadley, Birmingham's king of the geeks, and wherever you are, whoever you are, and whatever you're talking about, whatever you're doing, we're going to listen to you two in the live chat there on Rumble, X, YouTube, and Facebook. Cover as much of it as we possibly can in it all together. The mood will be a slightly better than last time, I think, but it could dip again at any time. We'll see how we get on, won't we? All in it together. So get the comments in, and we'll have a nice two-way conversation. That's how it works here at Type 40 Live. I've got a panel raring to come on. I don't know where they've been at over the last few days because we haven't spoken. We haven't compared notes on the weekend Doctor Who, but we'll see, won't we? We'll see, and we'll see what we can make of this if we could pilot this between us. I think at least it's got the correct number of sides, which if you had a Dapol model TARDIS, if anybody remembers those back in the 80s and the 90s, David, you know, some of those didn't even have the right sides, did they? If anybody can make sense of this, surely it's David Milling.
Absolutely, I love it. Good evening, everybody. Hello, Dan. Hello, everyone.
Hello,
yeah, I love it. Nice to see that you've been slapping and banging away, as always. And obviously looking after your home turf. Yeah. I love a homemade TARDIS.
So do I. I believe the expression is kit bashing when they do it with models. So I'm not quite sure how it goes with props. But one thing I really like about this sort of thing, mate, is trying to figure out which household utensils have been superglued to which bit.
Oh, I do love it. And I think in the 70s TARDIS Pertwee into Tom Baker's, they had a few old door handles on there. The door levers that you had to get into rooms and stuff to wind it around. So I love it. Yeah. Well, the thing is about the Type 40 TARDIS is that because it's had a lot of running repairs over the years, you would anticipate that there were a few sort of like Heath Robinson adaptations. Kids ask your parents or grandparents onto the homemade TARDIS, and it just feels very much very H.G. Wells, if you know what I mean. H.G. Wells. It adds a certain amount of charm.
I couldn't agree more, mate. I mean, when I was growing up, I know you're roughly the same sort of generation as me, the same time of Who. The TARDIS had got a little bit bland, you know, and sort of. And you could tell it was all sort of fitted together by panels and things. The quirkiness, I think, is all part of the fun. And the idea that you can assemble your own in the way that the Doctor sort of had to in that episode, The Doctor's Wife. That's one of the things I like the most about that episode. But fans who were able to do this, I'm in awe of any of them, in all truth, all joking apart. And I love the idea, just as you said, of somebody sort of Wallace and Gromit style, assembling something in a shed and sort of putting it on the back of a pickup truck and taking it down the motorway, or in this case, they could have flown it to another country entirely for Gallifrey 1. But there's room for plenty of people to stand around here, either literally, as there is in the picture, or figuratively when I bring on more panelists, including Mr. Gary Akers. He's here too. Hi, mate.
Greetings, everybody. So there's three things I noticed about this great console. Okay. One is, I think it's really cool. They have the little information file screen that Tegan looked at in Castrovalva there, where she gets the
yes,
she gets the information. What looks on the far left panel, it looks like there's like the little hole where the key to time tracer fit in, and that's kind of cool. But I the thing that strikes me is on the top right, there's even what looks like a rubber chicken, and I think actually after seeing that, I actually think that needs to be a necessary part of all future TARDIS consoles, because if any scientific gear is going to have a rubber chicken installed on it, it's got to be the TARDIS.
Well, it's been missing the whole time, isn't it? So if Bernard Cribbins had have been cast as Doctor Who, which, as we know, he was on the shortlist back in 1974, if he had have been cast, we know that Cribbins was very fond of a rubber chicken. He went everywhere with one in his pocket. Then that would have been the TARDIS, the console.
Absolutely.
Realistically.
Absolutely.
Have chicken, we'll travel.
As it should be. You know, I mean, who knows? I mean, would having a rubber chicken have been better than K9? I mean, who can say?
Rubber chickens, K9, go better than that here at Type 40 Live. We've got Luke Walters, he of Cinescope and Hooligans fame. Check it out. See, K9 never muted himself, that I'm aware of.
Leave him muted, though. Leave him muted, Dan.
Yeah.
Just leave him muted.
I think you should stay quiet.
Very. Does my sound any different, by the way?
Well, we can hear you now.
What's that noise? It's strange.
Do you feel different?
No. Well, I'm actually using a mic this time, so I've actually got a little one of these. Hello. First time notice I'm not coming through my AirPods, so this should be. Yeah,
you sound a bit richer. You sound a bit richer.
Yeah, when you bring it closer, it does sound a bit sort of. Any birthdays in the house? Bottle of bubbly for the girls in the back.
Do you take requests, Luke?
Ooh, a little bit of the bubbly.
I'm sure Rose Kirby will love that.
I think Rose
he's channeling Luke is channeling his favorite Michael Bublé there with the way he's holding
even with the hair as well. I'm not holding myself.
More like Michael Barrymore, but I don't know. But
hope not. Jesus.
Oh God! Hey, off to a flying start already.
Yeah,
How's your week been, Luke? You okay?
Yeah, not too bad. Quite quiet, to be honest. So,
yourself to a new mic?
Yeah. I was waiting for that. Stephen O'Neill, Luke's muted because his beloved Wales lost. We didn't get lost.
What did they lose?
It's just life.
Their dignity,
the will to live. The rugby.
England beat them in an egg-shaped ball game.
Yeah, it was very sad. It was very, very sad. It was expected, but we had a good laugh anyway. We had Mr. Carley was around, Rob Peters, Jamie Carroll. We ended up watching the Tom Baker interview on one of the collection box sets and just drank a lot of whiskey.
I thought they'd come round. I thought you meant they'd come round to watch the game and sort of rub it in. It make it hurt even more.
They don't care. They don't care about rugby. Ironically, every time Rob and Jamie Carroll have watched a game of rugby with me, Wales have lost. That means we haven't won a game in like 2 years. So that's not helping my cause. But we drank a lot of whiskey and we watched some Tom Baker. So even better.
What more can you ask? You can't have everything, can you? I think you, generally speaking, you're up on the deal. Do you love a homemade TARDIS as well, Luke?
I do. I used to own one, I think.
Really?
I remember I bought one and I never picked it up. And I don't know what happened to it. I really don't know. That's cool, though. That's amazing.
Love that.
That looks like a Quick Shot 3 joystick that's been jammed at the top of there, Gary, from circa 1985, 86 time. I'm going to work it out.
Wow.
Big Lego pieces here and there. But what I like the sort of the red sensor light as well, which gives it a touch of the Knight Rider. And David Hasselhoff and Glenn A. Larson produced TARDIS. I suspect that Glenn A. Larson could be a name that Charlotte Shields has never heard before and hopes she never will again. Yes, she's back, everybody, to keep us all in line.
Technology liked me this week.
She's back. Fully functional and upgraded, aren't you?
Yes, I literally turned my laptop on early. I was like, you're not doing it again to me. And it was fine. So it likes me.
Just nobody say the word updates, because that's Charlotte's trigger word now.
No, after
Yeah.
last week.
Windows 11 treating you well?
At the moment, it is.
Yeah.
Let's, like Gary said, let's see how the journey goes with Windows 11 and me.
That the cards may fall. Yeah, good stuff.
Yeah.
What do you make of this TARDIS, Charlotte? I mean, I like when you go around this thing, you see more sort of angles from it. They've been very creative, the guys here at Gallifrey 1. This was taken at the big convention this weekend.
Yeah, you can clearly see the Davidson inspiration, which is nice. But like you said, it's got that personal touch that they've clearly added little bits. I wouldn't be half surprised if they're thinking, oh, if I ever designed a TARDIS for the show, this is what I would want. So that's what I like. It's that nice fusion sort of going on.
They can't be confident that they've sealed it all correctly because some of them are wearing sort of COVID style masks just in case there's some coolant gets out. I don't know what that's about, or maybe someone's farted. I don't know. I've heard that can happen. You can get con crud at these big conventions.
Con crud. Oh,
crud.
Oh,
Yeah. So if that's as bad as it sounds,
no, please.
I can see why. Yes, con crud conventions. Imagine where we're going to go on this edition of the show. We're talking about all things Doctor Who, everybody, and as ever, it's still waters in Doctor Who for the most part. Somebody's spoken, one or two people here and there, when they'd been loosened up or paid to, basically. So this is part of our coverage of everything that's happened over at Gallifrey 1. So we're going to be a bit more cheerful this time, guys. Cheer up, including you two. Come on, get it down, yeah. Yeah, we'll put a drop of some whiskey in whatever it is that Sylve's drinking. He'll be fine. Give him an hour. He'll be down for it as well, because it was the big 36 Legends of Gallifrey 1 convention this past weekend over in LA as ever. And so, although none of us were there, we feel like we probably were in spirit. Due to the wonder of social media, I like to keep an eye on what's coming out from this event. Usually somebody's gotten into a fight or something's happened. Somebody said something they shouldn't. All the fun of the fair, but there's lots of Doctor Who icons from the classic and the new series there too, of course, and from Big Finish and everywhere else. We've got everything that everyone said, everyone who was on the guest list and the attendees as well. So maybe if you were there, you have been spotted, you've been discovered. I mean, it does look fabulous, this place. It's spotlessly clean. I mean, if you did that at Butlins over here, Charlotte, there'd be at least one jobby in that pool. So, I think they're quite meticulous about this, but they do lay the stall out. There was this put out on social media there from Galley 1, a friendly reminder not to use the hot tub if you've had diarrhea in the last 5 days. Hashtag Galley 1. So I do like that they foresee these things that could arise later on. We never think on these terms in Britain. This is where we come unstuck, Charlotte.
Do you know what? In my head, as soon as you showed that, if anybody's watched Gogglebox, I had the guy who's the voice for Gogglebox say that.
Friendly reminder not to use the hot tub if you've had diarrhea in the past 5 days.
I would actually amend that to say if you've had diarrhea ever.
Yeah. Please don't get in the hot tub. Yeah.
Yeah, so that was early doors, obviously. Things could only get better. Think positive, right, Karen? Yep. She's on board as well. So if you were there at Gallifrey 1, watching on YouTube, Rumble, Facebook, or X, let us know. We'd love your stories too about what actually went down. Well, not in there, but just down generally at the event, because obviously the things that got reported and got posted about or tweeted about or whispered about, maybe there's more. So if you let us know there in the live chat, we'll keep it to ourselves. If you believe that, you'll believe anything. I mean, the creativity was on show absolutely everywhere, as always. And the cosplayers in particular were out in force. And here's a selection of some of my favourites. We always start with the Dalek. This sort of tiki Dalek matches that shirt that you were sporting a few weeks ago, Gary. Do you remember?
Yeah, I do. I love that's very cool. I've not seen that one before. That's new. They always used to have some kind of weird Dalek going all over it, but I really like that. Is there somebody in there?
We'll never know. We'll never know. I think there's definitely a couple of people in Zig and Zag there, Luke. The girl dressed as the Fifth Doctor. I think that's very creative. How she's managed to adapt the Davison outfit there for into a skirt and things like that. I love all this sort of stuff.
Yeah, cons are great. I've only recently just started getting back into conventions. To be fair, I haven't been to one for years and years and years. I remember going to the official Doctor Who convention in Cardiff. It was 2012 ish, and I just saw Matt and Karen are doing Liverpool Comic Con now. So Galley One just looks mental. It looks great fun, and yeah, kindness is it looks brilliant. Like all power to everyone who cosplays and does everything, because it takes a lot of commitment, and it's hot as well. And the pug's amazing. I love pugs. I used to own a pug, but she's dead now. But do you actually ever really own a pug? They own you. It's fantastic, absolutely fantastic.
That's how it works. Of course, people from overseas can't take a dog to a convention. They'd spend far too long in isolation, wouldn't they? You'd never get them there. So these would be American dogs, I suspect, David. But and I would question about dressing one as the 13th Doctor. This was my favourite. This young lady who's dressed up like the Sonic.
That's great.
Really cool, Gary.
That's quality.
That's great.
Brandishing. I'm just trying to work out how tall would the hat be. I don't know. It's probably best we don't know. But I suspect there were very few doors that she could enter and exit with that attached. She'd probably have to duck down a little, I would imagine.
Oh.
Now seeing Mickey Mouse.
That's really funny.
As a Cyberman, I think that is. I'm trying to work it out.
Cybermouse.
I think that's a comment on the Disney ownership.
I was going to say.
Do you remember Mr. Soft? The Mr. Soft advert for Soft.
How dare you? Oh no! Oh, okay. Yes, I do. Yeah, the Tree Mints guy.
That reminds me of that. Yeah.
Very good. Lots of doctors, lots of companions, of course.
Serious Buffon there.
Yeah, he's really going for it, isn't he? The guy on the left, in particular. And I think the guy in the middle, I think that's what they call Lux Maxin. I've been told by my son that that's Lux Maxin when you spend a lot of time doing your eyebrows and things like that as a gentleman. So good luck to him. A couple of ladies there. Oh, the Happiness Patrol. I didn't see that.
Dawn French there as well. I'd love to see her.
Lux Triple XL Maxin. Yeah. Yes. Wait. What is she holding? What is she holding?
I'm not quite sure.
Was it part of her outfit? I can't quite make it. This was my favorite. The canine kind of
great.
God.
That's fantastic.
I think he's a Sith rather than a Jedi, isn't he?
Yeah, that's amazing. I love that.
I first thought that was one of the from Warrior's Gate. Before I saw the K9 head, I thought, what's the name of the Warriors from Warrior's Gate?
Yeah, I remember the guys you mean.
Tharrells, the Tharrells.
The Tharrell, yeah.
Yeah. The full cast of Series 10 here, cosplay style. I don't think I've ever seen anybody cosplay as Nardole before, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is nice. I don't know if they knew one another or if they just spotted one another and said, we should do a picture. Probably best I don't know, but yeah, if this was you, nice work. And these two ladies too. Now, what are they meant to be, Charlotte? Do you remember? Are they the Shadow Proclamation, or are they handmaidens from Pompeii? That's what I couldn't quite work out.
No, they're not Pompeii, because they were more red in that episode, like proper red. Well, that looks like purple to me. And I think they're Time Lords of some description because of what they've got behind their heads.
Yeah.
That's
up in this is up in the lobby. I can tell. I'm trying to orient as I'm looking in the background of all, because I can see like where the pictures are oriented or were taken. Yeah, this is up in the main lobby. All the con stuff is down one floor on the whole bottom floor, and this is kind of up in the bar area of the floor above.
You know this place like the back of your hand, don't you?
Yeah.
Look at that girl's Sixth Doctor outfit. That's an explosion of colour, even by Colin standards. Particularly good, but I don't want to diss the guy on the right either. He's bringing the body language of Colin Baker's Doctor, I feel. Beautifully done. Apparently there were 3,006 attendees this time from all over the world. Whether that's high or low, I couldn't say. We're back with another mashup. Yeah, there's obviously a theme. People are bored with just Doctor Who. It's got to be Doctor Who mashed up with something else. Seems to be the thing now.
Do you know what? I would have liked to have seen a Miss Piggy version of the 13th Doctor. It would have probably amused me a lot more.
No, do you know what
think
would have
we
been more
we
funny?
pretty much did, didn't we?
Miss Piggy and the 13th Doctor having a cat fight. That would have been something else.
I'm waiting for. I was actually waiting for Dan's drippingly sarcastic comment on that last cosplayer.
Sarcastic me? What kind of bloke do you take me for? Dear me. I think people have got me wrong. This was my personal favourite, having said that. Yeah, I know I said that about the girl with the Sonic, but when I saw these two together as the 8th Doctor and Grace, there's Grace in the outfit she was going to the opera in, isn't it? And the 8th Doctor specifically, no, it's not Lawrence Llewellyn-Bowen, somebody in the live chat. It's meant to be the 8th Doctor. but I love this. The sheets are suspiciously white, if you remember, because he got caught, didn't he, in all those puddles wherever it was. He was sort of breaking mirrors and all that.
So
this is great.
I got to say, so before we leave this picture, so basically where this is, where that gentleman is coming in the door, that's the main entrance to the hotel. You come into there and he's heading straight for all the regular check-in desks, and all of the hangout part is kind of where this couple is, and the bar is right behind him and stuff. I just want to know what that businessman who's coming in, who has no idea what's going on, looks over and see this guy dressed like that.
I tell you what this picture says to me: Lawrence Llewellyn-Bowen, Olive from On the Buses, and George Burns coming in the back through the door.
Yeah, we get you. Yeah, it could be. I mean, it could be that he's there. Depends why he's there. He could be on a business meeting, couldn't he? He could be meeting his bit on the side, or he could be a representative for Ann Summers or something like that. In which case, he's probably come to the right place. This is my favourite one. Absolutely brilliant. And the creativity seems to know no bounds. And the I suppose the bravery too, the things that people will go out in public dressed as. But then again, I suppose you could look at this. I won't say it's a safe space at the convention, but it's very much a sort of bubble world within our world, isn't it? Where the laws of normal society don't apply, I suppose. Apart from the fact that dogs are always cute and so are cuddly toys. That's a universal. That's a given. That's never gonna change, is it, Luke? This one with his shades on. I'm not sure who the duck is meant to be, but yeah, who cares?
I have loads of cuddly toys scattered. My missus makes them, doesn't she? She crochets them, and so I've got a monkey on my desk right now.
Okay.
So I don't know why I've got a capybara. I've got a rabbit that you put Cadbury's cream eggs in.
What's a capybara?
Capybara.
He had one in last week.
He's got I got a capybara lamp.
I was going to say you're waving.
I have a cow. I've got a fat capybara. I've got a dragon. I've got a. Of course I have.
The man's been invaded there. Worse than they were at the Marriott in Los Angeles airport over the weekend just gone. We've got some news and some quotes from Gallifrey 1 coming up later in the show, so stick around for that. But if you were there, if that was you, if we had you on the screen there, let us know, because sincerely, it was all absolutely brilliant. And it's really the idea that you can sort of see all of these things on social media and live the convention vicariously. That's a nice thing. It's something that we could never have done back in the day. So sincerely, if that was you up on screen, thank you for using the hashtag. And hope you had a fantastic time. Any FOMO there, Gary? You said you couldn't make that one?
No. You know what? I actually, one of the things I loved most was actually just seeing friends like from around the country and stuff. We'd all get together and hang out over the weekend. And I don't know that a lot of them, come anymore. And, it would have been fun to do a jog around the dealer's room and stuff. But, no, I would rather have been here with all of you.
Oh, yeah. Sometimes it's
being
best to quit while you're ahead.
Doctor Who, yeah.
Quit while you're ahead with these things.
But for the 3,000 for the attendance though, Dan, 3,000 is actually a pretty good number. I think the high I remember back in the heyday, and I'm talking like 10 years ago, was around like 3,200 3,500. So to get 3,000 now, considering everything, that's not bad.
Considering where Doctor Who is at, we're going to see exactly where you are at there in the live chat right now. Catch up on the comments with our friends on YouTube, Rumble, Facebook, and X.
Hi guys, and welcome to Type 40.
Yes, welcome back, everybody. Thanks for the comments already. Lots to get stuck into. Lots of people to refamiliarize ourselves with. So let's scroll our way back. Let's see if we can make any sense of this madness. Jonathan Cox is in. If we can't do it, he certainly can. Good to see you, Jono, mate. Hope things are going okay. I don't know if he likes me calling him Jono, and I don't care. That's the kind of guy I am. A pain in the arse. Evening all, says Woodhouse122. Evening back at you. And we've got Lord Thoth there in the live chat as well. I'm not sure what that square means. If that's some sort of signal to the Illuminati, I don't know. I suspect he could be quite well connected, Lord Thoth. It tends to be. I'm not going to ask no questions, get told no lies, Gary, I often find. Funky says hi all. And we've got the Zero Room in the live chat as well with the greetings right back at you, and Stephen too, and Farsight as well. So lots of familiar names. Always good to see. There's some confusion in the live chat, which I think could be our fault. It has to be our fault. I can't really blame anybody else. But yeah, between us, we'll try and undo what we've done. Where does this tube go? Says the Zero Room. I believe it goes to Type 40, sir. Dance. See, somebody started early.
Wow.
Yeah, but. Yeah, Weatherspoons has been open since about 10:30 this morning. So
I love Weatherspoons.
Yeah, getting the spoons. Stephen Braddock's here as well. Hi, Stephen, with another beautifully illustrated 10th Doctor and Rose
nice one
icon there on his YouTube. Yeah, good to see you. Good to see you. So, how have we haven't confused Farsight? Hi back. A gross, says the Zero Room. Was that the cosplay or the warning about using the hot tub? Could be that. The legendary 5-sided Dapol console. Yeah, that's what I was joking about earlier on. I never owned one of those, but I often coveted other fans' collections of those. I got all the figures, but I could never find the TARDIS anywhere. Yeah, lots of talk
Stephen,
about in the live chat.
That's wonderful.
People have them. They must still be out there. I think a lot of people bought them and never opened them. Who put a hole in my TARDIS?
That's right.
Says the Zero Room. That's a line from which store is that, Gary?
Reboss Operation.
Oh, of course, because at the start of the Key to Time search. Yeah.
Right.
Which one is that? Evening all, says Adrian James. And Funky asks, is that an 80s joystick controller on that console? Yeah, I think it was.
Or are you just happy to see me?
Hello, my friends, says Cheryl in the live chat. Hello back. I think you'd have probably liked all the Colin Baker love that was obviously present at Gallifrey 1 this year. And don't chicken out of that, advises Stephen. As if we would. This is Type 40 Live. We don't chicken out. We don't chicken out on anything. Full tilt, full time. That's what we do. Dave was there in the live chat. Dave, 901. Good evening, or crouching over something or other. I'm not sure. Is that you, Dave, or is it? Looks like Noel Gallagher or something like that from it. Could be you. Luke looks like he's about to break out with "Fly Me to the Moon." So yeah, you're going to croon.
No, don't sing.
Stay tuned. That will happen before the end of the show.
And Rose is asking, "Hey, who said my name? What did I miss?"
Luke's dulcet tones with his sexy mic, Rose. That's what you missed.
And his dragon.
Yeah.
The dragon's called Bessie as well. So the dragon's called Bessie.
We've got Tom in from T-Dwarf Productions as well in the live chat. Hi everyone, sorry I'm late. Happy Valentine's Day. Yeah, we're a couple of days away from Valentine's Day, isn't it? So guys, you've got like 24 hours to hit the shops or get on the app.
Don't do Valentine's Day. Do Welsh Valentine's Day.
You've had yours. I was about to say.
Yes, we have. So I'm all
Can
done.
I convert to being Welsh?
Yeah,
It
if
sounds
you
like
want,
you
yeah.
guys have got a lot. Yeah, you can. You're taking new applicants.
Yeah.
The best part about the best part about Valentine's Day for me is the day after, when all of the chocolate and candy is half off at the pharmacy across the street.
You
Going
get your
to
chocolate from a
Cynical
pharmacy.
so-and-so.
I'm a romantic. What can I say?
You get chocolate from a pharmacy.
Well, no, I mean a pharmacy. It's one of these, like, they call it a pharmacy, but they have like a ton of stuff. It's like
Okay.
I have those equivalents over there where they have like 3 aisles full of Valentine's candy.
I thought you could say something else then.
Not everyone is a natural romantic. I couldn't agree more. Tom definitely is. He sent us his Valentine's artwork for 2026, and this is somewhat cheeky. I think maybe even provocative for you, Tom. Check it out, everybody. This is his Valentine's card with the movie era Dalek and I think I've got to, you choose my words carefully. A sultry. I use the word sultry cyber woman. Well, I'm assuming it's a cyber woman. I probably shouldn't do that, should I? But yeah, giving. I think she's giving you the glad eye, David. It's
well, you know, she's only human. Well, partly.
There's a cyber mat at her feet, and a couple of nice hearts decorating this diorama as well. Again, from Tom, a fabulous creative, of course. Go and find T-Dwarf Productions on Instagram and Facebook to see Tom's other amazing work. So it's. I mean, look at the metallic paint on the base of the Dalek in particular.
Oh yeah, nothing wrong with a little interspecies romance.
Hey, do you think they were on some sort of? I think they met on Tinder, or it was a blind date that was sort of set up by
absolutely,
friends.
it's a blind date.
First dates on Channel 4, though. That's where they met.
Oh no, I'm sorry. With that position, that's Love Island. That's Cyberwoman.
You reckon?
Hands on the hips, yeah.
That's right.
Really weird tortured spin off this. Jesus.
Why she brought the cyber mat, I don't really want to know. But
they could be saying, so what implants have you had?
That's right.
As part of
the cybermat. Oh God, the cybermat is there to chaperone. But yeah, happy Valentine's Day. Right back to you, Tom. Thanks for sending in that. Of course, we are still a home to creativity of all kinds here at Type 40 Live. It's something that we've always supported and always will. How you do? Everybody's asking one another how they are. This is another thing I love about the live chat here. People talk about old movies, which you do you, whatever. Yeah. We've got hails as always from Ezra Goldstein's in there with a hail. We always get at least 2 or 3 hails, and good vibrations from the Zero Room. Maybe not. We'll have to see, won't we? A red rocket, says the Zero Room. Is that was the Dalek you're talking about? That was the name that the Dalek advertised themselves on Tinder with. Red Rocket. Red Rocket seeks whatever, that kind of thing.
Universal domination.
And we got good evening, folks, from Richard Brooks as well, and lots more people. God, they're still rolling in. This is what we like. This is what we love. And just as Rose says, remember to hit the like if you can. Hit tap. Yeah, tap that. I think we're back to Valentine's night again, aren't we?
Yeah, we're going to tap that.
Yes. Happy Valentine's to everybody who's celebrating it. What else is here? I escape Valentine's Day, says Richard Brooks. There you go. But if you're not excited about Valentine's Day and waiting on that, on something which may fall through your letterbox, then you may be excited. Keeping an eye on the social medias of Doctor Who personalities, in particular, Billie Piper. Billie Piper, the somewhat lovelorn Billie Piper. She can't seem to get it right, can she? Bless her. She's single again, and on the prowl.
Really?
So you never know your luck.
Really?
Right? Yeah. I think all you
Look
really
at Luke's face there. He's
all you
sort of like,
really
whoa.
all you need to apply is some sort of dependency problem of some sort. She seems to go for that. And
I want to revise my opinion about Valentine's Day then. I didn't know Billie was available.
There you go. Well, she seems to be going through a rather difficult period. There could be a reason, but I don't know. I mean, she's not saying much, but she did share this all across her social medias this week. Now, I'm not quite sure what's happened to her, what it's meant to be. Strange enough, this isn't the silliest that we've seen Billy looking in the last 12 months. We saw something way sillier.
Is this a shot from the Christmas special?
Well, obviously, Doctor Who fans, we forget that Billy does other things. So a lot of Doctor Who fans have sort of assumed that this could be something to do with the special. But all she said is coming soon, all caps. So she's very keen for us to stick around and find out what it is. Maybe she means she's having a new nose. Maybe it's a new nose is coming soon. This is from the plastic surgeons.
I think it's something to do with that short film she's doing. I think it's called Meat. She posted about it just before this. I think it looks like it's something to do with that.
What's it called?
I think it's called Meat. Don't quote me on it.
Like MEAT?
Yes.
And two veg. Yeah.
It sounds filthy. Yeah, well.
Yeah, she's doing a new short. I think it may be something to do with that.
I was going to say, to me, that looks almost like a plastic cast. Like when they do that, when they're going to do like a mask for it later on or effects on it, because that's you can see it really is emphasizing the features. So that's what makes me think it's plastic.
The eyes look like a plaster cast, Charlie.
Because they don't do plastic casts anymore now. They just, because obviously actors complain about them and they're there for hours. So what they just do now is they take 3D scans of their face. So this would line up with that, to be honest. So a CG plaster cast. But yeah, I think it's to do with the short film she's doing. She just posted.
How dare you come on this show and make sense? That makes perfect sense. I never thought of that. But it looks like, but would they be permitted to show something like that, Luke? Surely it would be subject to an NDA. Does it not matter if we don't know what it's for?
No, well, if it's a short, I imagine it's... I'll tell you what, come back to me in 2 minutes. I'll have a look.
Professional surfer of the interwebs. So this is how we got Billy all the way back in May, wasn't it? Considerably dafter and slightly more alarming, really, for a great deal of us. We didn't know what to make of that. We still don't. Billy is the watcher, says Farsight, and we'll be watching as best as we can. Yes.
So right, okay, I'm back. So this is what she's posted for Meat. So it is definitely something to do with. Oh my god, I got screen blur on, haven't I? Right, yeah. So she's posted, some photos of Meat. It looks like some kind of weird folky horror, and she also is using the "coming soon" caption. So it looks like it's
those green lines on it look like some kind of like computer guidelines for like a computer program or something to put.
Something's got to go somewhere. I mean, I suppose you had to word it carefully. You couldn't put "meat coming soon" in the same caption, could you? People would have definitely got the wrong idea. But yeah, best of luck. Best of luck, Billy.
Yes, the best knob jags go.
Best of luck with that, Billy. We'll be staying tuned, finding out whatever that is and where it's going. And she can't keep treading water forever, can she? We're going to find out what she's doing, or what she will be doing back on Doctor Who at some point in the near future. And then we can all point and stare and laugh and do that sort of nervously excited twitching that Doctor Who fans do tend to do. But yeah, more comments, please. More of that, and we'll bring you some more of this. That's how it works.
Hello, this is Sue Molden. On behalf of the team, I'd like to say how overwhelmed and extremely grateful we are to everyone who has donated so far. The response has been magnificent, and we are especially grateful to those who have pledged regular donations. A big thank you from all of us at Film is Fabulous.
Sue Malden there, bless her. What a fabulous video. Yes, so a lot better than that. Yes. Okay. Are we cooking with gas yet? I think near enough. Sort of. Obviously, we haven't heard anything back from Film is Fabulous yet this year. We just encourage you to follow their social media wherever you can find them. They're on X, Facebook in particular, and I think they're on Instagram as well, maybe other places. And they put out their own sort of videos and vignettes and things like that, which explain their work in great detail. And the link is always in our video description too. So you can go and get involved. You can donate and keep track of whatever it is that they're doing and support them in their various endeavours to preserve our televisual cultural history, I think, as well as all the rare film they're able to save from the eternal scrap heap. So it's incredible work that they're doing at Film is Fabulous, and who knows, sooner rather than later, some Doctor Who may turn up. It's good to keep an eye on these things, I think, because we're not entitled to know, but it's quite reasonable that we want to know. In between then and now, of course, you can fill up some more of your view time by skipping your way through the plentiful meadows, our playlists here of earlier editions of this show here on the YouTube and Rumble channels, earlier editions of Type 40 Live, over 250 of the sods. So there's all of our regular news shows, just like this one, our special event shows, like last week's, when we did our sort of where are we at now with Doctor Who thing for our annual 2026. We cover breaking news too. So when something goes down, when something big happens, we rush to the webcams and the mic, and Luke grabs his new mic as well, and we give it you, both barrels in stereo. We give you our thoughts pretty much in real time. And there's our special reports too on the work of Film is Fabulous, as we did. I think that was about last October time, something like that, when whatever it is that's worthy of an extended, deeper look, then we cover all of that too. So if that is the kind of thing that you like, some of that's bound to be, isn't it? Then hit up the playlists, particularly if you're a newcomer, and do some time traveling of your own. There's the Type 40 podcast as well, of course, across all major podcatchers, and our home feed at type40.podbean.com. Reviews, previews, interviews, geekouts, and deep dives, more recorded. So there's more on the way. Get stuck in and, get in touch. Let us know what you think. This is Type 40 Live, YouTube, Rumble, Facebook, and X. Lots more to talk about, more convention talk too, and some more bits and bobs coming. There's a brand new documentary to hit the BBC's YouTube channel. I think this is coming on Sunday evening at 7 p.m. Full-length documentary on the making of the war between the land and the sea. Just when you thought it was safe to go back in the water, Gary, they're going to hit us with that.
I think I'm busy. When is that on? No, what channel is that on? Is that on BBC One?
It's on the BBC's Doctor Who YouTube channel.
Wow. Okay.
Just when you've forgotten about the war between.
I don't know how to react to that.
You sound so excited, Gary.
I don't know. I honestly don't know how to react to that.
You can see the tumbleweeds blowing across the screen.
I don't think that's the reaction they wanted. Look, hopefully you'll like the next item a lot more. Let us know what you think of it so far. And we'd like more comments too. Of course we would. Let's have another blast of something or someone that may amuse, like this.
The Cyber King approaches. Your lives are in peril. The only way to save yourselves? Watch Type 40.
Thank you. Looks deadly serious, doesn't she? Okay, so Doctor Who, yes, we have a deadline, don't we? Well, they have a deadline. I think it's Christmas Day 2026. We sort of assume that's when it'll be, when we next see the TARDIS. There, we assume it'll be on BBC One. I don't suppose we should assume anything in the 21st century, should we, with all of these different delivery methods and the falling of fortunes of Doctor Who. But yeah, so deadlines have been on my mind, and so has Deadline magazine. They're the US-based outlet who've been covering Doctor Who quite well, I think, over the last 2 to 3 years. They are very well placed in various studios, particularly on the other side of the Atlantic. But they've got, it seems, a vested interest in Doctor Who, particularly after so many people. I think someone connected with Doctor Who called them liars or something a couple of years ago, and I think Deadline have sort of taken that personally. But they've been covering the kind of fall of the Disney deal very, very well. But they are, in my view, quite an unbiased outlet that are just as capable of bringing forward things which I wouldn't describe them as being good news, but are more interesting, and sort of covering them in a very even way. This week, they've had the first interview with Zai Bennett, or Zay Bennett. Is Zai Bennett? So this guy's come from Sky TV to join BBC Studios, and he's spoken to Deadline about a number of things, his general role, really, but has spoken with confidence about the future of Doctor Who, and it's in particular its standing in the United States. So the gist of it is that I couldn't quite believe this when I saw it. So Zay Bennett is the CEO and Chief Creative Officer for BBC Studios Productions. I thought, well, surely, is this something else? Is this something I've never heard of? Turns out it is. This is yet another prong of the BBC that they don't tell the license fee payers about, I think. So BBC Studios Productions is different to BBC Studios. It's a specific, global-orientated content-making division. Now, everything counts and classes as content now, doesn't it? So long-form television, as well as anything that may go on around it. So it turns out there's BBC Studios, and there is this specific division that thinks more globally, called BBC Studios Productions. What happened? I suppose BBC Worldwide, maybe it's something along those lines, as was. So yeah, they've taken some time here to look at the state of Doctor Who as it is now, and recapped. No decision more neatly demonstrates the nasty headwinds facing scripted than Disney pulling out of the Doctor Who deal with the BBC. BBC Studios and Bad Wolf after just 2 seasons. So they never pull any punches at Deadline. And they've got an exclusive quote here, though, with Zay Bennett, amidst everything else that he had to say. So when it came to Doctor Who specifically, this is what he said. BBC Studios is a big, important part of Doctor Who, and are all motivated to make sure Doctor Who has a long and flourishing life. We've got the Christmas special coming. After that, it's time for us all to work on it. We're all in it together. So there's not much there, but I suppose it is plain English. How I take this, Charlotte, is it's a affirmation and an assurance that A, that they've not forgotten about Doctor Who, and B, that everybody will be pulling together rather than fighting one another, which was the impression that we'd got was happening with the Disney Bad Wolf BBC setup. They're playing on the idea of unity. What's your take?
Well, it's interesting that I feel like ever since season 2 finished, we've had more and more executive level people talk about Doctor Who than ever before. I can't remember a time when we've had, in such a short time from each other, we had the chief content person, didn't we, at Edinburgh?
Yeah.
We've now got him. We've had a few other comments. And I do think when it comes from this level, it's more insightful because they're not it's not their own product in the fact that they're not making it personally, like a Russell, like a Julie. So when they're talking, they're going to be a bit more business centered. They're going to be a bit more I would argue, a little bit more logical with their comments. So what I'm getting from this is they haven't got a strict plan going forward because it's very vague terms. We can all muck in together and try our best. That's something you say when you don't have a clue what you're doing. It's sort of flowery language, isn't it?
Yeah.
But like you said, I agree. I think they are trying now to put across this image of whatever happens next with Doctor Who, it's not going to be one person leading the charge anymore. That's what I'm reading very much between the lines, I'll admit. But it's interesting that it's gone from Russell being the be-all and end-all and the showrunner and his say and him.
He was the only voice. He was the only voice we seemed to hear.
And now it's, like you said, all together. It's like, yeah, I think they're trying to say Doctor Who is going to be more of a team effort going forward, and I do think that's the better approach because Russell has shown if one person has too much power, has too much say, then things can't change for the better or things can't be picked up at the right time to be changed. Hopefully they can if it's more of this team going forward sort of mentality.
When I see things like this, I mean, obviously I'd never heard of this gentleman before. He seems to have had a decent track record behind him. I try and get the measure of them by sort of looking to see if I can see the whites of their eyes, how many chins they've got, if they look like they've got a firm handshake, or, those sort of little silly things that we do. But the truth of the matter, I think, is, Luke, that when we read statements like this, we read them and we can take them at face value. And in all sincerity, I try to take this sort of stuff at face value because I don't know these people, and I'm sure that it's their own words, but also nipped and tucked here and there. But I think the way that Doctor Who fans receive things like this, and when they see people being appointed to various jobs, is that we view it as, that game where the trick where they put there's 3 cups and a ball, and they put the ball under the one cup and sort of move it around, and which cup is the ball under, and it's like each cup represents a different arm of the BBC as to who is going to be taking responsibility for it at any given time. And they pass that ball around and they move their hands that quickly that we're not really sure who is doing what anymore, or more importantly, where our license fee money is going. So I think that sort of hits that tissue for fans and for the British public as well, particularly in a week where they announced the license fees going up by another £5, and you hear about another big exec in another role, in another arm. But what's your take? What's your take on this one, Luke?
Yeah, it's quite. Yeah, I've never heard of him, but it almost reads like war, like a war speech. Like, oh, we're all in this together. We're all
should have been delivered on horseback in the car.
We're all doing our bit, We're all, and it's like, what are you on about? It's like, this is. No, just fix it. Like, it's quite easy to fix. Evidently, it's not.
A dozen episodes with a bloke in a frock coat running around with some chick, and we're happy.
it's all well and good saying that, and I know they've got red tape and NDAs that they've got to get through, but the whole being like, oh, we're all in this together. Is, to be honest, it's like the BBC is struggling. I don't know how many money spinners has got left. Top Gear's gone. The Traitors is probably the biggest earner it's got, but that's not their IP. It's a bought IP. The BBC needs a functioning Doctor Who to the scale it was back when Matt Smith took over. Is that feasible in this current day and age? Probably not, because you saw Capaldi talk about how strenuous it was on him. Is that feasible this day and age? Probably not. Is a streamer going to be wanting to pick it up now after Disney? Probably not. It's probably just going to revert back to BBC Studios, and they're just going to license it out via BBC America again. It just seems, the word in it, put your money where your mouth is, and just, all right, tell us the plans then. We know the Christmas special, right? Okay, who's taking over? Is it Pete McTeague? Because Jack Thorne is that's a no-goer for me. It just seems, it's all for one mentality, and it's just like, right, okay, cool, just stop talking about it, and just action speaks louder than words at this point.
Just do it. He goes on to say, what's on our mind is how can we monetize and exploit things. This is him speaking generally about his work at BBC Studios Productions. The creative bones in this place are awesome. I want to make sure we have the same drive and energy in the commercialism. So where he's coming from is definitely playing up and playing to the strengths of being a commercial operation. And yet whenever they're questioned about it in the media, David, the BBC seem to want to distance the commercialization. It's as if it's the dirtiest word in the English language, and yet they're quite happy to play those games when it suits them, particularly when they're speaking internationally to an international organ like Deadline. Do they think that the British people don't read this stuff?
That's a really interesting question. I think they're trying to speak to two different audiences at the same time. They're trying to speak to investors, yet also they're who they think their traditional audience are. So they're trying to please two different types of people at the same time, which is, as we know, quite difficult to do. And as Luke, Charlotte, and both Luke have said, I agree with their points. And whilst appearing to be quite Lord Nelson's type Churchillian in their rhetoric, it is a sort of an attempt to say, if you're thinking of giving us money, please give us money. we'll use it. We'll use it well, and don't worry, we're in it together, and we'll listen to you if you invest in this. And don't worry, it's not just one person in charge of the whole shebang. Excuse me. It's not just one person in charge of the whole shebang. We're all in it. We've all got a big creative team, and don't worry, investors, your money is safe with us, and viewers. Yeah, you'll be all right, because we're on it, and we're guaranteed to make it good quality and all this, that, and the other. So it's quite interesting that he's trying to speak to two audiences at the same time, and obviously I feel that they are not desperate, but they will be courting as many different sort of other platforms to showcase their material internationally as they can, because that's the way the world's going. But I'm not sure, as Luke will say, as to whether or not as to whether or not they will be all that successful with that. Time will tell.
It's perfectly reasonable that the BBC, as it always has, they've always sold their programs internationally, Gary, haven't they, since the 50s, never mind the 60s, when Doctor Who was first in the equation. So it's understandable they can sell this stuff internationally, and BBC Studios itself sort of is built, or certainly is well equipped to meet those requirements, to fulfill those sort of orders. But I suppose the task at hand, really, for not just Doctor Who, but any show, is to work out how it is best for that individual product, be it Strictly Come Dancing or Doctor Who or Bluey or anything, how feasible it is to effectively reach as broad an audience as it possibly can outside of the UK.
Right. How
they do it, you could say it's not for us to know. I mean, Deadline is often focused on the business itself angle to it, isn't it? So it's not a gossip magazine at all. It is very much about the business in show business.
No,
but
Deadline...
the BBC, they talk a great game, don't they? And yet everything that they do when they step up to the plate, it seems like a pantomime all of the time.
Well, I mean, first about Deadline. Deadline at this point is the kind of premier online source for entertainment industry news, whether it's who's been hired behind the scenes, who signed a new production deal, what actors are attached to different projects or anything like that. So they're kind of considered the go-to now, Dan. And as you said, I mean, they're very well thought of. They produce solid stuff. They don't rumor monger or whatever. So it doesn't surprise me that if this person wants to make some kind of update or definitive statement about where things are now in the US, Deadline would be the place that you'd go. As far as the content of what he said, I kind of lean more toward what Charlotte was saying, where, we've got the Christmas special coming. After that, then we'll get around to rolling up our sleeves. So to me, what my read between the lines is there's going to be a big gap between the Christmas special and whatever comes after. I mean, we might even get the CBeebies stuff all done before we get any more live action Who. But it seems like it's more of, okay, we have to get this Christmas special out of the way. We're kind of obligated to have Russell come in and clean up his own mess. And at that point, we're going to put a pin in it, send him on his way, and then we'll get down to, what we're going to do next. So I would think any overly optimistic fans who are saying, oh, well, no, he's not saying anything, because then that means that something is going to be coming out right after. It's like, no, I don't think so, because he doesn't strike me as somebody who's kind of speaking out of both sides of his mouth, like the lady from a few months ago who was the TARDIS isn't going anywhere.
Okay,
blather.
Phillips, yeah.
So it seems like they know that they have kind of a cleanup task to do, that they have fans that they need to win back after this debacle, and hopefully he'll get the right people to do it.
Well, the market is there, Gary. The market is there.
Oh,
Sorry,
of course.
Charlotte. Because you've got franchises like Marvel, Star Wars, Star Trek, lots of other successful science fiction, fantasy franchises that are like Doctor Who have gone to the wire, or gone downhill, I should say. And so there is a massive audience there to be tapped. And I think what he is also saying is, reading between the lines, as you said, Gary, is we need a bit of time, or give us a bit of time, so we can get it right, rather than just rush something out to the screen.
Well, I don't think
that may do some damage.
I don't think that they. I don't think that they think that. I think they're obviously well aware that there's a huge audience out there for it, but I think they're also well aware that the unique thing about Doctor Who is that fans, even longtime fans, aren't all in on everything. Doctor Who has the unique structure that you can section it off. You can section it off by doctor. You can discard what you want, and as a fan, you can keep what you like, and you can kind of discard or completely ignore what you don't want. So everybody wants to discard Ncuti. Most people probably want to discard Jodie. And I think he's probably aware that fans aren't beholden to everything. And that if they produce something that's overly political, overly agenda driven, that's just as distasteful as like the last few years that we've gotten, that the fans will have no problem in completely ignoring it or walking away from it again. And I think he probably realizes that.
Yeah, all I was going to add, and
that audience,
you guys were talking about time. I think that's going to be the uniqueness of the situation right now. Because if you think about all the other handovers we've had in the modern run, you could tell Moffat was there ready to go when he got his after Russell. Then when Moffat was leaving, you could tell Chibnall was ready, and it's never felt like it's sort of been an uneven and shaky handover. I mean, on the surface, I know once you start to watch the episodes, things, but as in, it's not felt like there's a big waiting period, or that they're sort of finding their way to find the next showrunner. And it feels like this time it's different. This time they actually are not rushing. They are actually taking some time, because I think that their statements would have a bit more of a definitiveness around them if they knew, for example, there was a person just has already signed a contract, for example, or is very much not that far away from being installed. This is just my feeling, but I think that's what's happening here. So we're having this sort of a bit more of a grace period between showrunners, which I think it needs, because we've all said this. Probably they would have had a bit more time for some of those selections. Maybe they probably would have changed things and done things differently the second time round.
If you remember last week, Charlotte, there were several words floating around in our long discussion about the general state of things, and malaise kept coming up, and sort of treading water expressions were used a lot. But we are in a place that's not quite like any place we've ever been in before. Farsight says in the comments, he asks, the big problem is what happens if the Christmas special tanks? And this is also a unique point, because the truth of the matter is, firstly, how do we qualify tanking? But more importantly, because I think something has to be on screen for 2 to 3 to 4 weeks to establish a broadcast pattern whereby interest will tank. Yeah. So that's not gonna happen. But I think what Farsight means is, what happens if nobody watches? And the truth of the matter is, it doesn't matter who watches this. And I'm sure that they're going to make something that they believe is going to be the best that they can possibly do, and it'll be fit for purpose, and it'll likely be on the most important TV day of the year, on Christmas Day. And it will probably do quite well. Now, Joy to the World, which I hated, did really well. It was one of the most watched programs on Christmas Day, and look how bad that was. So I think that doesn't matter in either the short-term future of the show or the long-term. It's almost completely academic, because this is acting as a placeholder, as a way of bridging one era and another, and also to pacify the fans that the show is still in production of sorts, and to keep Doctor Who's foot in the door culturally as well, so the general public don't relax and think that it's gone forever. So you see what I'm saying? I don't think it matters really how many people watch this.
I agree with you. I think the actual impact of most of the episode will not matter. The only impact it will have is probably in the first 5 minutes, when we have some establishment about Billy, what she is, and then in the last 5 minutes when we see who she turns into. Honestly,
during the time in between, Charlotte, you go and have your Christmas dinner or go.
The stuff in between is just Russell fixing his own messes, and not a lot of people watched Russell's mess. So it's all about how do you set up for whatever comes next. That's what all the real impact this special has, I think, honestly.
The time in between will be filled with for the shippers of Billy and David Tennant, of Rose and the Doctor. So that's what the time it'll be romantic mush in the middle, no doubt, or like a jumble sale, whereby you just got this massive pile of clothes on a couple of fold-up decorators' tables, which is just a huge mishmash, and it'll be, as Charlotte says, 5 minutes of importance at the beginning, Russell's greatest hits, then 5 minutes at the end.
I don't think, obviously I don't know, I don't think we'll even see the next Doctor by the end of it. I think the only, they'll hear him or something like that. But I just think the only purpose of this special is basically just, to push the reset button, have him clear all of his stuff out and be gone, and clear the decks, and that's it. I don't think there'll be like a mix of, it'll be mostly Russell and 5 minutes of product from the new people in. I think it's just going to be, it's like an obligatory narrative thing that they have to do, and I don't think they care if anybody watches it.
The business aspect to it. The business aspect to it is what's going to dog the whole thing. I think, Charlotte.
Yeah, and I like what Chris has just said in the studio. In the chat. The purpose of this special is future brand management.
Right, exactly.
Which is what my point is. We know Billy can't stay beyond this special, because she can't. She'd be ridiculous to stay beyond that in this role, narratively. Even though I've said plenty of time, brilliant actress and I love her, but narratively she cannot stay beyond the special. And narratively, we need to know: does she fall in the timeline as a Doctor, or is she going to have some weird title and not be a Doctor? And then the last 5 minutes can just establish, right, she's had her time, she's gone, here's something. It doesn't have to, I agree with you, Gary.
On your bike. On your bike, Billy.
We shouldn't be talking like this about our show, but this is the state Russell's left it.
Well, and they'll probably also, last thing is that they'll probably, I'm sure they're probably giving Russell a list of strict instructions. They're probably telling him, look, don't get cute. Don't try to leave some kind of, dangling plot hole at the end because you think that we'll ask you back to fix that. You're going to, here's your lane, stay in it. And I think they're going to be pretty strict about it.
We've got one more quote here from Zy Bennett on the whole thing. So he doesn't say a great deal, but in relation to the need, I suppose, to make this a success globally, as is the remit of BBC Studios Productions in particular. He was adamant when Deadline pushed him on this that he won't speak for the BBC. They pushed him on how the BBC Studios itself might seek help for the future of the programme financially, and he would not budge on that. He wouldn't speculate, wouldn't utter a single word, but Deadline did push him on it, so I don't think many British outlets would. The Radio Times certainly wouldn't, would they? A 2026 Doctor Who Christmas special produced by Bad Wolf and BBC Studios, written by Russell T Davies, is due to enter into production on television come Christmas 2026. We don't know exactly when yet. Of course we don't, but I think the smart money still must be on Christmas Day. I think that's where it belongs. I think that's where people expect to find it, and they need to start delivering something that the general public can recognize as that it belongs, and it feels like the show that they would have tuned into 20, even 15 years ago. That would be good. That would be good. Okay, let's have a quick break. I think, because in the present day, you're quite right. When did making television get so complicated, Luke? You know, just make 12, 13 episodes, bang them out. I need to be cleansed. I need to answer the call of nature. The best way to do that is with a selection of choice cuts of blasts from the past, where our Doctor Who legends were flogging us all manner of household tat. Some of it was probably really, really bad for us, because that's how we rocked back in the day. This is the Type 40 Live Doctor Who ad break. Check it out. We'll meet you back here in a couple of minutes.
Now, Mr. Busby, you say everyone is laughing at you?
Yes, they don't believe a word I say.
And what is it you say?
Well, you promise you won't laugh?
What? Oh, come now. You can trust me.
Yeah, all right. Well, when I tell them that a cheap rate local call dialed direct on their own phone costs less than 5 pence for 9 minutes...
Sorry, what was that?
A local call costs less than 5 pence for 9 minutes. Here.
5 pence for... You must be joking.
I'm not joking.
Frustrating, isn't it? When you need an any-purpose loan but don't know who to talk to about unlocking the capital tied up in your property. Even if you're self-employed, consider yourself to have a low credit rating, divorced, or retired. Don't worry, because Ocean Finance hold the key. Call 0800 858 858 and Ocean could help you. Ocean loans can be used for any purpose, and all circumstances will be considered. You may wish to improve your home, or buy a newer car, or simply consolidate all your existing debts into just one manageable monthly payment. There are no interviews, no arrangement fees, and no salesperson will call. So for that homeowner loan, call now. You'll be under no obligation, and you could secure the loan you need. Call Ocean Finance now on 0800 858 858. That's 0800 858 858.
These are some of the world's most advanced televisions. This set has a quick start picture. Here, full remote control. A 26-inch model with a high brightness screen. And finally, one that even has its own audio output. But all these sets have two things in common. Tomorrow's technology and the Philips name.
Philips, simply years ahead.
Yeah, we're back, tuning back in. Type 40 Live, Rumble, X, YouTube, and Facebook, back in the present. For now, this is the past, the present, and the future of Doctor Who. We're ready to take on all comers. Here, go and line them up. We'll see them all off. The panel are here too. We've got lots more to talk about, of course. So, yeah, show us your moves, I suppose. Everyone, show us your moves. Where are we? There they are. Or here they are, I should say. We're back. Everybody all present and correct. All better now. let's check out the live chat and see what people have got to say about all that, because yeah, it's something, but it's nothing, I think, is the general lay of the land, and what they thought of the fabulous Type 40 Live at Break 2. That was John Leeson, of course, the voice of K9, messing with the televisions, appearing on them and sort of trying to flog us them. I love how he's there with the big headphones on and says, oh, you can plug your headphones into this, isn't it cool? I don't know when that would have been, 1980, 81, something like that.
Yeah, and if you also had a hi-fi or an amp, you could put the headphone speaker in the out thing to your hi-fi and have your TV play through your hi-fi.
My stepdad used to do that.
Yeah, brilliant.
Square TVs, remember them? Says Bill Silver. I remember widescreen TVs coming in, and I was ever so slightly blown away by it all. I really loved that commercial, in particular, the Busby one with both Tom Baker and Bernard Cribbins. As I said earlier on, Bernard Cribbins was on that shortlist, but Tom got the role in the end. I would imagine they would have recorded their voiceover work separately, but as Doctor Who fans, I can't resist little facts like that, Gary. It's, you know, they were both up for the same part, and
It always boggles my mind as to who throughout the decades has been considered for the role.
Tom is terrible at accents, though, I have to say.
It's always recognisable as Tom every time, isn't he? He just be Tom Baker. And as Bill Silver says, yeah, that was at Port Merion that Fraser Hines went to Port Merion to sort out his insurance, whatever that was. Registered in Lichfield as well, which is the seat of our own Simon Horton, of course. That's quite cool to see something in Lichfield there. But that was the establishing shot was indeed the hotel, but it was in the Prisoner. I'm trying to remember, was it the old people's home in the Prisoner? But it's actually the hotel, it was the
village.
Yeah.
So it's nice little moments like that that connect all the dots in our geeky lives. I met John Leeson, says Tom at T Dwarf. I've met K9. I've met Matt Irvin, but I've never met John Leeson. So apparently he's a really, really nice guy. Philip Roy is in the live chat. There, look, apparently Phil was in Doctor Who once.
No way, really?
So I've heard. But he says here, he's been here from the start, eating chicken wings, and texting is not a good idea. So I think the idea is he's got grease all over his phone and all over his face, and heaven knows what that's happened to the chicken.
Are they particularly the messy chicken wings, like the barbecue ones with lots of gooey sauce, or are they the Chinese?
Those are the best kind
chicken wings. You know, there's so many different types of chicken wings you can have.
I tell you what, there's a place just around the corner from me called Bunny Jackson's. So 25p chicken wings, and they're the best chicken wings ever. It's a proper like American diet. Chris Jericho was in there on Sunday watching the Super Bowl. It's such a bizarre thing, but yeah,
Chris Jericho was in Bunny Jackson's. Bunny Jackson. He sounds like, was he like the sixth Jackson brother who didn't quite make the band?
Yeah, but they do the best chicken wings. They're only like 25p. They're so good. They're so
you can't get anything for 25p anymore.
You can in Manchester.
Fair play. Bunny Jackson's everywhere. Maybe we can set them up. Maybe they'll sponsor us. Bunny Chris Jericho.
And Jason Momoa was walking around Manchester as well, just cutting about, getting drunk in the Northern Quarter. It was such a strange
Yeah, he was in Birmingham all last weekend, getting absolutely off his face. They dragged him around every gin bar in the city. Every I think he had about 5 curries. And when somebody I know saw him sort of stumbling around, I mean, they had people with him looking after him, but apparently, like the mural, the tribute to Ozzy Osbourne and Black Sabbath, he was down there, Charlotte, in a state of disarray.
I was going to say, is he trying to get adopted as a northerner or something? He's like Birmingham one week, Manchester the next. Like, is it Newcastle the next week?
Birmingham's not in the north, Charlotte. Come on. Let's not go there.
If you're in Cornwall, it counts as the north. There's lots of places pretend to be in the Midlands, don't they? It's the Zero Room is asking where and how is Simon. Simon is his presence. He's around, and he'll be back in due course, but he's got quite a lot of commitments at the moment, Simon. So he will be rematerializing at some point in the future. He wants everybody to know. But he's knee deep or neck deep in other matters for the time being. But he will be back, rest assured, and so will the Type 40 Doctor Who Diary. Of course it will. So I know there's lots of people asking about Simon. Simon is still with us, even if he's not with us physically. he will be reappearing. Jacqueline Hill was a Brummie, says Bill Silver. I knew there was some reason I liked her. But there we are. Okay. What next? Where next? And who next? Find out now. We've got more delights. Oh, seeing as Phil is in, let's have a quick blast of this.
Doctor, beware of the scorpion.
But which Doctor? Wait and see, won't we? There's bloody dozens of them now. TARDIS is all flying around. But Philip Roy is Doctor Who. Some point later in 2026, when he's not eating chicken wings and getting himself
I would
into
like
a
to see.
state.
I would like to see an episode of that. The Doctor just eats chicken wings.
There you go. Pitch it to him.
Yeah.
He's after, it could be a sequel on the cards. He'll he might take that one. Okay, so back to time and space and time. Gallifrey itself, for something nearly 4 decades now, an army of Doctor Who fans from all over the world have descended on one location for the biggest Doctor Who convention in the world, Gallifrey 1. So yeah, they go there by their thousands, Gary, as we found out. I mean, 3,000. It's a good number. It's a good number. Pile into the Marriott Airport Hotel there. It does look quite luxurious, I have to say.
Yes. So this is just really quick, probably more information than anybody really wants. This shot's basically taken from the street, so you're looking in, and that drive is the kind of like the car where you can kind of drive up and you can see a little car there, and you can leave that with the whoever, and then you just kind of like walk in, and the area below that, the little kind of darkened area, where the trees are.
Yeah, it looks like where Jack Ruby was shot.
That is that is the area where. That's the floor there at the bottom, where the whole floor is the convention. So where people are getting out of their cars and walking into the main area on the top is one floor, and then the bottom part there is and that's where they bring in quite nice food trucks and stuff throughout the weekend, so you can pretty much stay in that area the whole weekend. But you're all on that one floor. You can basically live in that one floor for all 3 days.
Bunker down. Yeah. So ever since 1990, they've been holding Gallifrey 1 conventions. I think mostly here. They skipped 1 year, maybe 2 years for the pandemic, but I think they're catching up really. Gallifrey 136 was held this weekend, just gone. Nice assortment of faces from all eras of Doctor Who were there this time, classic and new. The audio fans, there was lots of people there who were into the audio dramas. And once again, here at Type 40 Live, we're going to gather and compare our levels of sort of jealousy, really, but pick over what was said, who was there, and what went down. What did we miss? That's the general gist of it. And the announcements came pretty quickly. One of the big guests there, I think he's there every year, is Jason Haygallery from Big Finish, and he always sort of wrangles 3 or 4 or more Big Finish people to delight the crowds with. But they chose this particular event to announce big news there for Big Finish. So Jason confirmed that Big Finish has had their deal renewed, their license renewed, to continue making audio dramas, like the full cast audio dramas and audio books, connected to the Doctor Who brand. It's one of a number of IPs that they currently have. They've just landed a big deal with Ian Fleming to do the Young Bond series of novels as audio dramas. That's a big deal for them. But they've got lots of other deals with other people as well. But it's all built on the foundations of what they established, what they've achieved over the last 2.5 decades with Doctor Who. So the statement said that Big Finish Productions is delighted to confirm that its license to produce Doctor Who audio dramas has been renewed, securing brand new audio adventures for listeners until the end of 2035. So that's the best part of another decade. Now, I was hoping it would get renewed for them because they do put a lot into it, but I didn't think it would get renewed that far into the future, Luke. That did surprise me.
I muted myself again, didn't I? Oh, rookie mistake. Yeah, I heard they had it up until 2030, and that's still a long way away. But 2035 is kind of it's kind of a bit mad. When you put into perspective, how many? It sounds very morbid, but how many of those doctors are still going to be alive? 2030, 2035. I know they've got years. They've got them backed up for like 10 years each, I think.
I know that Tom and Sylvester have both recorded a lot of stuff in advance.
I think they've got like 10, from what I've heard, they've got about 10 years backed up. But Joe Martin and John Martin, John Carley and Miles Taylor, just they're in a job for a long, long time.
Yeah, here's Miranda Raisin, there Lisa Greenwood and Conrad Westmus, who all play companions to various doctors, sometimes together, sometimes apart, signing various bits and pieces of fan art, Sharpies in hand, lots of smiles. I do love seeing stuff like this. I'm nowhere near the Big Finish completist, Gary, that I used to be, and I don't think I ever will be again. I'm going to have to live with the fact that there are dozens. There'll probably end up being thousands of these things that I've never heard. Yeah. But to be honest, the continued existence of Big Finish, if they are able to keep the lights on and to maintain and ideally grow their audience, I'd never begrudge them that. So I am happy for everybody connected with Big Finish in regards to this.
And this is exactly like, standing as close as the photographer took here. This is the one great thing about Gallifrey, because you don't have to, you can just come right up there, and if nobody's like in line behind you, you can stand there and just talk to your heart's content. Everybody's really friendly, and I'm sure that the people at Big Finish love it, because this is probably one of their few chances to really connect with a large number of fans at one time.
Well, there'll be people there who'll have been curious, and there'll probably still be people, Doctor Who fans, who've never even heard of them. I do, when you read or hear interviews with people, like Nick Briggs, Jason Hay-Gallery, or John Ainsworth, they do still talk to people who have no idea that this stuff exists. So that they've got to be seen to be flogging it at any opportunity. And why wouldn't you do it? Why wouldn't you do it here? They've done a lot to advance the download delivery method in recent years, but Doctor Who fans tend to prefer the physical media, I think, for the most part. But I would imagine that will lessen even more as time goes on. Times do change. But yeah, a lot of the people connected with it do have sort of jobs or roles for life, David. Do you know what I mean? It's nice that these things continue, and they talk about how they intend to creatively expand as well, which is that's the ideal scenario, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. And it's people of whom may have fallen out of love with the previous two iterations of the show can still find solace in hearing good quality productions. I know it's not visually, but at least in auditory, in an auditory way, with their favourite doctors. And there's look. You get some really good ones and you get some not so good ones, but you get that in any sort of season of Doctor Who with your favourite doctors. You get some right clunkers and you get some very good ones. So you don't have to buy them all to or be a completist, as a number of us once were. And for me, the one constant over the last 27 years now that Big Finish have been putting out stuff has been them. So if you get a little bit fed up with what's being shown on TV, you can reach for a Paul McGann or a Sylvester or a Peter Davison. Peter Davison's work on Big Finish is he's somewhat darker than his TV stuff, and it without Big Finish, we would never have got the the really sort of the redemption of Colin Baker's Doctor, the continuation and really good work that happened with Sylvester's Doctor. We wouldn't have had Paul McGann as well, with all the excellent adventures he's had, and we've had Tom as well, which has been amazing, and having a really good rediscovery with Louise Jameson, and sadly for the one season, with Mary Tam before she sadly died, and some of his other companions as well, with Romana too. And I really am pleased that they've had the contract extension, and because it's such a long contract extension, one wonders, going back to what we were talking about before the break, one wonders if the reason for the long extension is that there might be a little bit more time before we get another series on TV, perhaps.
It's hard to speculate about that, isn't it? About how the two sides to Doctor Who, the two long-standing sides to it now, how they may interact and how interests may collide.
They may be filling a bigger gap than perhaps any of us anticipated, or perhaps they anticipated, but at least it gives them security for the next 9 years. And as Luke says, if they've got 10 years worth of stuff backed up from each of the surviving Doctors, it means they can just sort of, put it out like a sausage factory, really. At least we know
room for people to grow as well, who are more recent appointments. People like Michael Troughton, who's been playing the second Doctor now for a couple of years, and obviously a friend of the show, Stephen Noonan, and other friend of the show, Tim Treloar. They can continue to develop their lines, as well as Jonathan Carley, that unique time in the series mythology where he's playing the War Doctor. They can expand that as well. So much room to play with, and what they're trying to establish with Joe Martin as well. Jason Hay Gallery said being licensed until the end of 2035 lets us plan further ahead than ever. That means bigger stories, more ambitious series, and plenty of surprises. We can't wait to share what's coming. So there could have been some sort of pitch involved. But there's a lot of people there. Obviously, Fraser Hines connected with Doctor Who now for 6 decades. And there he still is, still representing and still playing the part too, and a presence. He was also a guest there at Gallifrey 1. So I just love seeing the pictures, Charlotte, as much as if I'd have been there myself. It's nice.
Yeah, especially when it's some of these actors like a Fraser who doesn't turn up at all of the events nowadays, and he has every right not to. Like, he's done his, like you've said, how many years has he dedicated to this brand at this point? But he still loves to come when he can to these conventions. And that is the unique thing about Gallifrey 1, because it's such a big event, and because it's sort of seen as the main convention now for Doctor Who, you tend to get more of these actors, which are a bit more of a rarer appearance, actually come and talk, which is, like you said, it's nice to see certain faces. Whereas we always tend to see like a Colin Baker or a Sylvester now at these sort of things. So, and the thing is with Big Finish, I'll just add, you've also got you can tell at the moment they're sort of, it's almost like they're thinking of their next wave of stuff they're going to do. Like you said, with the Miles announcement, with the Peter Capaldi audios, obviously it's
I'd forgotten about
doing
that.
them, but it's Coleshaw, and we know he can do that sort of work very well. He's been doing the Brig very well, and he's sort of really been flourishing in that role. So I'm very intrigued what he'll do as the 12th Doctor, to see him.
Chris and Billy.
Yeah, and that was the other thing I was about to say. With Chris,
Sorry.
It's given Chris a go at the Doctor again, which we never thought we were going to get, because of his relationship with the show and how he sort of had so many demons and issues with Russell and his team.
And they got the Ronnie back.
Yes.
Oh, I saw Siobhan Redmond.
It feels like Big Finish is sort of prepping themselves for this next wave with new talent. Because like you said, it's a bit of a macabre thought, but certain actors are probably not going to be here in 10 years' time, so they need to do that.
There was a classic series panel or two there at Gallifrey 1, Charlotte. So here's Peter Davison with Fraser Hines and Matthew Waterhouse, Mark Strickson, and Sarah Sutton. So three of the companions from his era. And they're all just sort of hanging out. Oh, like Fraser's bag with the TARDIS on.
Yeah, cool.
He's got TARDIS on his T-shirt as well, David. But so there was a cluster of classic series actors there who I would imagine know one another and one another's stories very, very well by now.
Yeah, it's great when they can coordinate the guests to have these little kind of like mini era reunions. Like I know that they were trying to do that until Paul McGann had to sadly kind of decline because of work commitments. They pretty much had everybody connected with the TV movie there this year. I just, you wonder whether, like back in 1981, 82, like when Mark Strickson like took on the role of Turlough, probably for what he thought was a limited time, or Sarah Sutton, that they would have thought that for almost 50 years later, they would still be doing this.
They couldn't possibly have comprehended. I mean, I think Sarah Sutton was about 19 years old, wasn't she? Matthew Waterhouse, I think he was even younger. But here they all are, 45 years later. There's Peter Davison. He arrived sort of in costume for his own one man.
It's his five-ish doctor's outfit.
It is.
It is.
Yeah, I do like how Peter Davison, I think he puts on some of this sort of world weariness. I think he's loving it. I think he loves every minute of this now.
He's a very witty bloke, Peter. That's what I love about panels whenever I watch him. He's so dry. Like you said, he's sort of got that I'm British, I'm long-suffering sort of expression down to a T.
Those chairs don't look very comfortable, do they? It's as if he could disappear down the cracks.
And you know, the interesting thing about Davison, who I love pretty much in anything he does, is that he even said, what point did he say that, you know, even at the time he thought he was kind of too young to kind of take on the role back in 19, but now through Big Finish, he's kind of grown into being the age he probably would have preferred to be when he took on the role, but now we get to see that Doctor too. So it's great.
Yeah. Get the best of both worlds, don't we? We got him running around breathlessly in his late 20s, and we get this sort of scratchy voiced version of the same character now.
Yeah.
And somehow it's okay that it all exists. I think it's because we like him, like the character, grew up with them. It's the same with all of these actors. We can close our eyes and even if we're more sort of pragmatic and we struggle with the lore of these things, it is a fantasy at the end of the day. And I think part of the joy is just sort of going with it. I mean, speaking about going with it, as somebody who definitely went with it earlier, late last year was this guy. Yes, he's okay, David. You're pleased to learn, Colonel Sexy Pants. It turns out he's alive and well. He was wearing dark glasses, so he could still be in a state of recovery from when he was dispatched, wasn't he, in the war between the land and the sea, a little over 2 months ago.
He's wearing those sort of glasses you get for $2.99 from a petrol station that tells you you can see in fog, which is always nice to say. You know, the ones I mean.
Or one of Gary's miraculous pharmacies that you can get everything in.
Yeah. Well, you know, we even have gas stations too, Luke, where you can actually buy glasses like that.
Yeah. He's right. It's an interesting outfit.
I don't know about his ascot though.
I was about to say,
thank God you said ascot.
It's giving me Fred from Scooby-Doo vibes. That.
Yeah.
Scooby-Doo.
Okay, this is Alexander Devrant or Devrent. I don't know how you pronounce this, Alexander. I'm just going to call him Alexander or Alex. Is also his first North American convention appearance at Gallifrey 1 this year. And although we have ripped the piss out of this guy and the character in particular mercilessly over the last 18 months, Charlotte. It is nice to see people getting involved with the conventions pretty quickly to capitalize on the affection that will be out there for them. I think it's nice that they're there.
Oh yeah, it's nice that they appear, and that some, like, for the fans who might not have so much of a classic background, who are more modern, like, even if you've just been in a couple of episodes, they're just as important to those fans as anybody who's been in a couple of episodes of a Troughton. Like, I think that's what sometimes people can lose sight of a little bit, because you've got so many generations now of people watching this show. Every actor is important, even if, like you said, we all took the mick out of that character, and I still think the character was utterly ridiculous. But good for him, because there are people who did like his character, probably. So it's good.
Did he have any character?
He was the boy toy.
Yeah.
Colonel Sexy Pants is his character, okay?
That's right.
Yeah, okay, all right, okay.
Actually,
Sorry.
In fact, seeing as anybody can edit Wikipedia, can't they? I dare you to go in and to change the character's name to Colonel Sexy Pants and see how that goes down. Is that one of the village people? Asks Matthew Pounder. Well, not yet. I mean, if they do the biopic of the village people, the VPs, maybe he could be up for that. Which one would he be? Would he be the fireman? He could be. You have to ask him if he's down for that. He's very wiry, isn't he, this guy? So maybe. Who knows? Amazing they're still covering the spin-off at Gallifrey 1, says Woodhouse122, watching on YouTube, when Disney still haven't scheduled the show. Yes, yeah. It must be rather strange. But of course, he was in the last couple of seasons of Doctor Who here and there, sort of cluttering up the set now and again. So people will have seen him, even if they haven't seen him in The Thing or seen him by the farm, I suppose. They would still know his face, even if they're not sure what his name is or who the character is. They can get acquainted with him. I don't know. I think that's pretty cool. I like that.
You know, I was just wondering, you know, they always have a video room going where, you know, it's like basically like a room where if you don't want to be out among the crowd, you can go in there and just plant yourself and just watch stuff. And it's scheduled pretty much 24/7. I wonder if they were legally allowed, if they could have shown the spinoff in the video room, even though it hasn't been shown here officially yet.
They need a special license to play it publicly, wouldn't they?
Yeah.
So the odds are against that. But hey, you never know. I mean, they do have screenings and things there, but they tend to be sort of independent things, don't they? You know, like Keith takes premieres, various documentaries there, that kind of thing. So I think it's possible, but not. It wouldn't be with something of that kind of level. Yeah.
Colonel Sexy Pants' greatest moments.
A eunuch was a disgrace, says Richard Brooks 539. Unit was a great creation, and they ruined it. So it's late review there. In break it to him gently. People do like him, and people did like it. So yeah, it's okay. It is what it is, as the saying goes. At least Mr. Underpants Man will not be in this year's Christmas special. Well, it could be. They may include him in a flashback.
Oh God!
Maybe if Kate Stewart's in it, and she may see him as a ghost.
I was about to say,
that tends to happen.
That's right.
I would not put it past this production team to have him be a ghost. I really wouldn't.
But Jacob Marley.
Yes.
Kate will be about to shoot another litterer on the beach, and he'll appear, telling her not to do it.
There you go. Don't do it, Kate. In whatever accent it was that he got. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, we'll find out in due course. I dare say, won't we? Also present was Jo Martin. Believe it or not. Here she is. Here's Jo. The fugitive doctor returns to Los Angeles. It says here. She was in attendance yet again. Lots of pictures of Jo. I think she was there for quite a time doing bits of pictures. I'm not sure what she's wearing. Looks like the wrapper you get on a Terry's chocolate orange. the foil that you get in those. So I'm all for upcycling, though, Joe. So you did capital work.
Wow.
She threw herself into this by the looks of things. I mean, you spent a bit of time with her at Hooverville last year, didn't you, Luke? And you said that she was very much down for it there, like a lot of time for fans. And, I think that a lot of people have different feelings about her place in the show itself. But she does seem to throw herself into it when it comes to these conventions, doesn't she?
Yeah, she was grand. She was a good laugh. She was a good crack. Like, so, I think she almost came out with me in the hooligans lot for a couple of pints in the end. At one point, she was great. She was good crack, and she seemed very enamored by fandom and very much a part of it, and just happy to be involved. Really nice woman, really down to earth.
Bet she likes some chicken wings for 25.
Oh my God!
Hey, well. You never know. I'm not sure who that is. I'm not sure who that is that's interviewing her. She obviously likes to say
that almost looks like Mark Hamill who's interviewing her.
It does. Yeah, it does. Good save, Gary. It does. Yeah.
You never know. Know. Yeah. So here she is, giving it some playing to the camera. There, Charlotte. Do you miss Jo Martin at all? Apparently, she's about to front a new multimedia event later this year, isn't she? So across audio and comics and online games and short stories and things like that. And she did say that as part of her doing that, they're giving the Fugitive Doctor a brand new costume, and she's going to be doing a photo shoot in it, which will include a hat, she told attendees there at Gallifrey 1. Ooh. So I bet you can't wait to find out what that's going to look like, can you?
Here's the thing, I do not miss the character because she was literally there to stand and be mysterious and make no sense. Like, that was her role. But Jo as a person, I agree with what Luke was saying, just off what I've seen her at events and conventions. She seems really lovely and really up for talking and being like apart with fans. The thing that, though, look at that picture on the left. And then look at clearly the look she's like being her doctor on the right. It's such a shame that they didn't let her be a little bit more like whenever she was on screen, she was either scowling or trying to look mysterious.
Well, it didn't help that they got her bolted into that ridiculous costume. So it was impossible for her to be natural. They gave the poor woman no character to play, just a load of cliches.
That's my point. Like on the left, that's a lovely natural smile, and that's you can see she could do that. So it's a shame she couldn't do that when she was on screen, because I really don't think she's going to do a 10 ton of screen stuff going forward, because she's too much of a dead end creatively to do.
Yeah.
Yes, she was holding court there at Gallifrey 1, and I don't think she can say much about the multimedia event that's coming up later in the year, but obviously we'll have our eyes peeled for all of that. I think the big sort of ticket, the main draw for this event, that was Millie Gibson. This was her first US convention appearance as well. Always makes a great impression. Stunningly attractive young woman, of course. Had a bit of a rough ride in the mainstream press and in the fandom as well. But it's been some time since she filmed her last material for Doctor Who, and she's got a couple of other big roles under her belt since. And we looked at a video that she put out on social media last week, didn't we, where she seemed glowing at the prospect of going there. I don't know if it was to go to Gallifrey 1 itself or to just go to LA. I don't know where she was going on to afterwards. But it seemed very sincere, and she just seemed like a really lovely young woman, and obviously still very, very young. And people live and they learn, and I'm sure we'll see her in many great roles in the future. But yeah, it's nice. Again, it's the same with Colonel Sexy Pants. It's nice that there are people who've been involved fresh to the series itself in the last 2 or 3 years that are going to go to these big events and go and meet the fans. This is the way it should be. I mean, it's quite an outfit here that Millie was wearing for her panel there. I think that would have gone down quite well with a lot of the guys in the audience. And obviously I don't know I haven't heard much of anything that she said, but from what I've seen, there's various videos of her sort of signing props in the dealer's room, doing the full experience, Gary, which, you can't knock her for doing that.
Yeah, I mean, when the big A-listers come, I mean, they set out a whole thing where they're, hello, where they...
Matthias have it.
I forgot what I was going to say. Where they, they have a certain roster that she's on the dealer's room signing, and then appearance at the, receptions. Although I think she had to leave early or whatever, she wasn't able to come to like the Saturday night reception. They had to have Davison and crew come and fill in. You need to put a different picture up because I can't really concentrate. There you go. That's fine. That's fine. No, and I'm sure that the crowd was rapturously, receptive for her, and hopefully she had a good time around LA.
The only thing that I've heard, the only sort of anecdote that I've seen, story recounted, is that somebody asked her to do her how she sort of psyched herself up to play the middle-aged version of Ruby Sunday, and she said that one of her friends was trying to teach her to walk like a woman in her mid-40s. I thought, and here she is, walking like fucking Yoda here in the Empire Strikes Back. I'm well past 40. I don't walk like that. I don't know any women who walk like this. So what she's playing at, looks like she's taking a chimpanzee for a walk. Whoever coached her,
she could be playing to the crowd.
You could be right.
I mean, because they get up there, they're not just there to answer questions. All the guests come in and they're kind of like entertainers up there on stage, as well as just answering the questions. So. Yeah,
we've got people in the live chat commenting on this. Just lots of lols and things like that. David Mullen asks, "Is she auditioning for Centrinians? Do they still make those movies?"
I don't think they do.
No.
Yeah, maybe they should. Maybe they should. Very Centrinians again from Stephen Braddock. Delightful, says Richard Brooks. Yeah, I just think it's nice to see her there. Yeah, very nice. Oh damn. Says the Zero Room. Yeah, I think that picture has had a similar effect on some of the people in the live chat as it has.
Calm down, Gary.
There, Gary. Stephen O'Neill, big vote of confidence here. Millie Gibson should have been the Doctor instead of Ncuti Gatwa, but unfortunately, the script would probably have still let her down. There you go.
Well, I think this. I don't want this to be blasphemy, but I think that she probably is so capable of an actress that if the scripts and a different Doctor had been on the level of, say, in the 70s, I think she could have been kind of, Sarah Jane popular if she would have had the scripts and a good Doctor to play off of.
Seconded.
I think it's just hard with 8 episodes, isn't it, to connect, and obviously then it's so hard to with the Doctor and a companion, especially, and when you care about them leaving right at the end, it's like I barely know you. It's like it's just not there.
She was the one positive for me from his first season.
Yeah, she was really
and she knocked it out of the park.
Yeah,
in many respects, she saved. Well, I say saved. She redeemed some portions of the second season. You know how much I love Verida, but Millie Gibson really was excellent in her role.
I was going to say that scene there's not many good scenes in the reality war, but the one that I thought was good was when she was seeing them pass the baby jacket. Like, that was all her acting. There was no verbal to give clues, and you could see how devastated she acted that she was seeing in real time them forget. So when she could pop up, she was absolutely a bright spark.
A glasses wearer in real life as well, not just when she's pretending to be 45. Few people have a degree of fondness, I think, for Millie Gibson or Ruby Sunday here in the live chat. Millie was the one good thing to come out of season 1, says Stephen Braddock watching on YouTube, and rescued some of season 2. Yeah, I'd agree with that. Fly Highland said, "Oh, is that Millie Gibson? She looks so different with glasses." Yeah, she does. She didn't look happy to be there, says the Zero Room. I think
she's probably talking about the show, not the convention. I'm guessing.
Who's that? Says Fly Highland. So people Didn't really recognise her. And the Zero Room says, I got to get that outfit. My wife. Yeah, so made quite an impression on our mate there. So that's good. That's
Has anybody have any of you watched that new what is it that she's in, the Forsyth Saga? Is that it? Have any of you watched
to be honest, mate, I don't, because I haven't got a TV. Well, I have got a TV, but I haven't got a TV.
Just curious.
So I don't know if it's even been on yet. I think it was due to be on Channel 5, but I've kind of lost track.
Yeah, it's on Demand 5. Yeah, it is. So you can stream it.
I might have to give it a
on
look.
Channel 5. Yeah.
Might have to give it a look. Millie Gibson was let down by the producers, says Stephen O'Neill. And Matthew Pounder says she's lost that Karen haircut that Russell insisted that she gets.
She's got the most beautiful hair, and they gave her that appalling. Was it a wig, Luke?
And then made her have it cut, I think.
Yeah, they bobbed her.
Oh,
they gave her the Adric cut. Yes,
yeah.
Just grown back. Here she is. Here she is with Freema Agyeman, and this is on Freema's own socials. # Millie Gibbo. Freema looking beautiful as well. Nice to see these two together. I've never met Freema, but she also seems really lovely. Hasn't been to Gallifrey in well over a decade. Been too busy starring in New Amsterdam and various stints on the stage. So, it's nice to see her reconnect back with Martha Jones, back with Doctor Who, and clinging on there to one of the more recent companions. This was nice to see. We've got some more pictures here of Freema going out on stage. Seems to be having the time of her life as well. You can practically hear that picture, can't you? It's people with their phones. God, it's only when you see pictures from this angle, Gary, that you realise how phones have impacted concerts, conventions, anywhere that people gather. A few people recording it, and she's doing it as well. So she can't complain when she's doing it as well.
I'll tell you, you can't tell from this picture, but this is in Hall A. This is the main room where all the A-listers and the big kind of video presentations are. And when that room is packed, and people are like, roaring like with applause and stuff. I don't know what it sounds like on stage, but it's pretty loud.
It goes up. It gets lit. Do people still say lit? Luke,
I can't believe you just said that, Dan.
Yeah. We've had Lux Max in there. We've got lit. Somebody stop me.
Type 40 has changed since I first started. Jesus. It's gone so far left. Jeez.
Dear me. Yeah, so here she is. Here's Freema. Nice to have her back in the fold for a little while. It'd be good if she did some more UK events. But again, very busy, in demand, working actress. I think for a time she wanted to put some distance between her and Doctor Who for career purposes. And I wouldn't begrudge anybody that. They're locked in these roles for a lifetime, aren't they? Just ask Wendy Padbury about that. I suspect that we'll see more of Freema here and there. I don't doubt. No, just nice to see these pictures for the from the convention and signing and things like that. And Freema does also seem to have a very good sense of humour, so she'll often be seen pulling faces like this one. I'm not sure what that is, but I think that Tom from T-Dwarf could probably make a model of it out of plasticine, whatever it is that she's trying to do there. Grandpa Dan says, "Funky in the live chat, you saucy bastard." Come on, everybody was saying lit about 5 years ago, weren't they? Or was it 10? I don't know. Maybe they were. It could have been longer.
Now, they don't have these. I mean, please correct me if I'm wrong. I don't think they have these dedicated big Doctor Who conventions in the UK, right? Whenever they appear, it's more like in the comic, like a big kind of like all genre kind of like comics convention, right?
They do, but not on the same sort of scale as this. I mean, the Capital, the big Dwas one, that's like this. So is Hooverville, to be honest, but they don't get anywhere near the attendees, like into the thousands like that. So but the ethos seems similar, shall we say? I'd say the ethos is along similar lines. And people telling me the Forsyth Saga was on Channel 5 in October, November last year. See, when when you don't watch TV, then this stuff sort of just floats out of your vision. But I hope it did well. I might pick it up on physical media because it does look like the kind of thing that I'd enjoy. Stephen is also a fan of Martha's character more than Rose. Yeah, I liked her more than Rose. Yeah, it's always hard to pick between the two because Rose was really iconic, and I thought Martha was a great character, but they can't all be iconic. Yeah. That's the difference, isn't it? That's the difference. Speaking of icons, here he is again, Colonel Sexy Pants back.
Oh God!
There he is, wearing the. What did you say that is around his neck, David? What did you?
No, I said it was
called
an ascot.
An ascot.
With his £3 petrol station glasses,
or pharmacy glasses.
So what's that, Charlotte?
Glasses.
I said there'll be like some designer, stupidly expensive glasses that we've all said look terrible.
Well, I want to know who saw him coming. That's what I want to do, and shake
Stuart by the looks of things.
Yeah. Oh.
Okay. So so there's Alexander again, sat next to Pete McTighe. He was the one. He was the one where people were hanging on his every word, because obviously he's been very involved in Doctor Who and the war between the land and the sea in the most recent past. Writer and executive producer of that 5-part event series spin-off. I mean, I suppose, now we've seen it, do we get to decide whether it was an event or not? I think the jury could be out on that. But the intention was that it be a big event. And there he was, talking about that and about Doctor Who, classic and new Doctor Who. And the impression I get, is that people were hanging on his every word. So he was there to showcase a sneak peek at the new special edition of Warriors of the Deep, because the season 21 box set, that's out next month. And he's been working on that. And he was talking about how good the Merca looks. And I think he previewed some actual footage and talked extensively about that and his work on the Doctor Who collection on Blu-ray. He also said that there'd been a decision made, although he specified this wasn't his decision, but he said a decision had been made by the collection range not to animate the 2 remaining missing episodes of The Crusade, the William Hartnell story there from season 2, isn't it? Because that's something that has stuck in people's craws a little over the last few years. People are wondering why. So again, I've no doubt that stuff will get released at some point in some form, and with more speculation about missing episodes that may be returned in the end. You can read all sorts of things into a statement like that. But at least Pete in this area could give straight answers to straight questions. And it's good that there was somebody there to talk about the Blu-rays, Gary.
Yeah, it's interesting. I'd read that apparently for the Merca in the new scenes of Warriors, they haven't done like the full like 4K like high gloss and stuff. They've made the new footage look like it was filmed like in 84, whatever. So it like tracks with the rest of it, which I think is pretty cool. One really interesting thing that I'd heard that he said, and again, you can't, you just kind of have to take it that they are things they can say and things they can't say. Apparently somebody asked him about if they would be doing a collection set for the Wilderness years. And he said something to the extent that like, well, there's the VAM, which is value added material, which is like basically the extras that was on the DVDs. They said certain of that haven't been included in the set so far for a reason. And then he said, you can draw your own conclusions on that. So, which means that everybody's taking that to mean, okay, it's under discussion, obviously, at least to have a Wilderness years set at some point, because that's really the only thing you can kind of make from that comment.
Yeah, I know that'll make a lot of people happy. We get asked about that quite a lot. Got mixed feelings about it myself, but if it make a lot of people happy, then obviously I'll get behind it, whatever it is that they choose to do. A lot of talk around Pete McTighe at the moment and the long-term future of Doctor Who. We've talked about it extensively on this show. I won't go over old ground, but he did speak about his credentials up to this point working on the show, and gave us a bit of a breakdown here, Charlotte, which I was a bit surprised by some of the stuff that he said. So the 2 episodes that he wrote for Jodie Whittaker's Doctor, if you remember. So there was Kablam from series 11, and then Praxius for series 12, wasn't there? So there was those 2 stories. And he said that, firstly, Kablam, that the last third of that, Chris Chibnall wrote it all. He didn't write any of that, the last third. And that when it came to Praxius, he wrote about half of it, and Chris Chibnall wrote the other half. And so he feels like they weren't actually his stories. You say that makes sense?
Especially with Kablam, because you had like this whole narrative for a good chunk of the episode of basically company bad, it's the individuals that are being punished, like it's the workers which have the raw end of the deal. And then in the last 10 minutes of the episode, Jodie literally turns around and blames the workers and is very pro-company. And it was like such a whiplash. So it almost felt at the time like something had happened with that last third of the episode. Because... And it made... Why would the Doctor, of all the characters, to suddenly be... Yes, company that lets workers work horrible hours with hardly any pay. Literally, I think there was like other stuff that they were doing in that episode to the workers, which is terrible. And suddenly she's having a go at the bloke who's trying to fight the system a little bit. And it was odd.
Yeah,
do you remember,
be a bit
David?
like... Yeah, it was. It'd be a bit like if suddenly the Doctor in the Sunmakers suddenly starts sticking up for the company as well, near the end, rather than seeing the revolution through. And it just didn't. It was, Charlotte, a real whiplash moment that really sort of took me out of the story. What I thought, right. So for 2/3 of the episode, you're saying company bad, workers good, and now suddenly you're saying company good, workers bad. What and what?
Well, in the
is
context
going
of
on?
in the context of his convention panel, how he wasn't trying to shift any blame for the stuff that people didn't like onto somebody else. I haven't heard any mention of him attaching any value to that or feeling aggrieved by it necessarily. But he did say consequentially that because of him writing Praxius with 50-50 with Chris Chibnall and the situation with Kablam, that for him, it's Lucky Day feels like the only episode of the 3 that is fully his. So he takes full blame for everything that was on screen during Lucky Day.
Yeah. Here's the thing, I don't think he was. I don't see him as the type to shift blame. I'm just saying it puts a lot of sense and context to those episodes now, him saying that.
A lot of people found it jarring, Kablam, Charlotte, in the exact way that you've just described.
Yeah, and then Praxius didn't have so much the whiplash. It was just boring. It was just... I just remember watching it just going like...
Yeah, I fell asleep during that one.
How have you made plastic attacking people this, like, tiring and that I don't care? Like, you could have done a body horror thing. You could have done so many different things with that idea. You could have had a creature to go with it, but no, it was just plastic bags. And it was, yeah. So, but I agree with what you said about Lucky Day. All of the writing sins are fully at his door for that.
He mentioned the war between the land and the sea a little, because obviously being an American convention, people were asking him, when are they going to get to see it? Not an unreasonable question, considering that it's been a couple of months. And he said that soon, basically. He said soon. So it could be as soon as next month. But interestingly though, he believes that Disney Plus will likely drop all 5 episodes at once. but that he made it clear that he doesn't know that for certain. He was explicit on that. He also said that the unit tower set, which was still up when they made The War Between the Land and the Sea, but they used a different setup, has now been taken down and it's in storage at Bad Wolf. So that's gone. That is no more, but it can be reinstalled, I suppose, at any given time. So it still exists, but it's not erect. That was as disclosed by Pete McTighe. But obviously, people were eager to know of his intentions when it comes to the actual show. You know, when Doctor Who wakes up, there are certain very obvious questions, certain patterns to the way in which he has emerged, how present he's been as a guest on that terrible Whoniverse show thing that they do for a start, and being at conventions, being very front-facing in the way that a showrunner or an impending, an elect showrunner maybe would and should. So they asked him, are you the next Doctor Who showrunner? Would you accept that role? And he said, it's not my decision. I will give you my party line, which is that the position is not vacant. So again, it's not my decision. I will give you my party line, which is that position is not vacant.
Could that mean that there hasn't been an official announcement yet that Russell is gone? So technically that's true.
Could be.
Yeah, he's right, technically.
Also, when people have been reading into this, oh, well, you know, it's definitely not him because he would have said, would he? Come on. None of them ever do. But more importantly, you can't have. The reason why the position is not vacant, you can't have a showrunner of a show that hasn't been commissioned. Season 3 of Doctor Who hasn't been commissioned yet. I think Pete has been very clever in how he's worded this, to diffuse the situation, not to shift the spotlight as such. He knows by using the phrase party line, because a party line is a deliberate avoidance of truth to stick with an approved narrative, isn't it? So the position is not vacant because the series hasn't been commissioned yet. Your thoughts, Luke?
Yeah, no, it is it's the very political answer, isn't it? Yeah, Russell is still the showrunner, as much as everyone says they want him gone, he's leaving, blah, blah, blah. He's writing the next episode. All we have is the next episode.
Well, with the special, there is no showrunner for that Christmas special because it's a one-off, so it's just got an executive producer. Can't have a showrunner. Something's on a show.
Yeah, but it's still Russell's in the eyes. It's Russell's. This is it's Russell's chair right now, and right now that chair is filled. For how long, we don't know. Look, I don't expect anything until sometime tail end of this year, maybe start of next, before we get the official Doctor is back. Here's Pete McTighe. It is his in waiting, isn't it? It seems like that way, and he's positioning like he is. He's doing the, you know, when the politicians are going out meeting everyone, they're doing the rounds, they're doing the political campaign, they're going everywhere, they're shaking the hands, they're meeting the fans, they're meeting the constituents. That's what he's doing now. Look, he's gone to Gallifrey 1. He's doing the fan show. He's doing this. He's doing that. He's speaking very on the line. He's not annoying anyone, and he's not giving anything away. I think
you're quite right. He's becoming more visible and more audible.
Yeah.
But the things that he's saying, I mean, he's obviously, there's not many people who are as bombastic and as annoyingly reverential as Russell T Davies. But I think he's very wisely sort of positioning himself as one of us. And he knows that people are invested in the box sets like that, Luke.
It seems almost, I mean, obviously I'm not finger wagging at anybody who asks particular questions, but it's kind of a fool's errand to ask a flat out question like that and honestly think that you're going to get any answer. I think,
Gary, as you said, he will have known this question was coming because you told me last week they screened the questions.
Well, yeah, I think that they've ever since Jodie ever since Jodie's era, It used to be back in the good old days, I'll say, where when they had people up on the main stage asking questions, they just had 2 open mics at either end and in the middle. And if you want to ask a question, you just line up and ask your question. Boom. With the Jody era forward, you had to submit your questions ahead of time, and then they would ask which ones they wanted to ask to avoid any kind of controversy. But for Pete McTeague, I would think a better question that might actually solicit some kind of answer, maybe, is if you were shepherding the show, what kind of things would you like to see? Like something like that, to make it a what if question, to where if you were responsible for the direction of the show, what kind of things would you like to do in order to, ensure a success? Something like that, I think he might answer, as opposed to, are you the next producer?
He did get one question, a creative question, Charlotte, which I found really interesting, not least of all because it's something that over the last 5 or 6 years, you and I have spoken about so many times with various panelists. So he said during that interview, the one thing that he would want to do is to go back to every single episode of Doctor Who, ending with a cliffhanger.
Yep. Yeah.
Oh, very good.
Well, here's the thing with Pete, and this is what's always endeared him with the fan base. He's clearly a classic soul when it comes to this show. Like when you see him purely just talking or doing like those trailers or the stuff for the Blu-ray, you can't fake that sort of love that he clearly has for classic. So I think if he was to be announced, I think a lot of his choices would probably be with a bit of a classic mindset. Because I think he's more in that camp than modern, honestly, the vibe I get off him. But I find it interesting from that quote you've just shown there. It's the first bit he said. It's not my decision. So as an opener, that's him clearly to me saying, I'm not saying no, it's just not my choice. So he's not like making sure he's not discounting himself from the position, which would be daft to do anyway, because like we said, he's so visible. But I think he didn't have to open like that in response.
Well, it's known, I think he said quite recently, not at Gallifrey 1, but it is known that he has expressed interest in the job before when Stephen Moffat was doing it. So this is something he's had his eye on. This is something he wanted to do, almost certainly still wants to do, but he's being tight-lipped because why wouldn't you? We're not entitled to know this stuff. Obviously, people do talk, particularly when a show is in such disarray. Pete was present in that very eye-catching pink TARDIS T-shirt there at the closing ceremony for Gallifrey 1 there with everybody else. So that's nice to see everybody from all the eras and all the mediums all together there. Michael Trout and Peter Davison. Who's that picking his nose? I don't know who that is.
Yeah, that's what they do at the closing ceremonies. They basically get every guest who's still there, because some make their appearances and have to leave. They can't stay all 3 days, but they try to get everybody who's still actually there on stage for one big photo op like that.
Sober them up. Get them out there. You're on. Smile. Yeah, give it some. Yeah, so it's nice. I love the fact that all these pictures are out there as well. So if we've displayed your picture on this edition of the show, because there was lots and lots of them at the hashtag Galley1. Thank you for being so generous, for sharing your experience with the rest of us who couldn't make it over to something like this, at least for now. But there it all was, and I just hope everybody had a brilliant time. Really, if you were a guest, let us know. Who did you meet? What did you see? What did you get signed? What did you go as? We want to know. We want to know. And I love this picture as well. So the hotel itself was lit up in TARDIS blue to mark the occasion as the convention was closing. I don't think they do that in Britain. That's That's very American thing to do. Just a bit of Vegas, just a bit. They've announced next year's event. Now, obviously, Gallifrey 1 is about to change hands, isn't it, in the next couple of years? But they are, for the next 2 years, I think it is, Gary, they're staying at the same location, the Marriott in Los Angeles Airport, next year between the 5th and 7th of February 2027. The magnificent 37 of Gallifrey 1 this time. So it carries on. I don't think that the graphic is any clue as to who will be there. So I wouldn't expect to see Shooty and Tom there. And obviously Hartnell, he's being very late. That'd be a big shock if he turned up. So obviously, if you want to keep your eye on the social medias there for Gallifrey 1, or probably at Gallifrey Base as well, that'll be the best place to go to find out who will be there as soon as possible and how you can book up for the next event, the next convention in this long line. So yeah, thank you again to everybody who shared your experience. And maybe I'll get there one day before they close it, Gary, I suppose.
2028 is the last year under these under the auspices of the people who are running it now. After that, who knows? The final one, 2028, might be actually really interesting to go to, because that's their kind of goodbye. So.
Big blowout.
Because it used to be Sean Lyons for quite a while.
It is Sean. Yeah, no, I've known Sean since the 80s. We were in the Time Meddlers of Los Angeles, which is the fan group, which then headed the creation of Galley. Yeah. He still runs it. Yeah.
Oh, does he? Oh, brilliant.
Sober them up, says Funky. I don't need reminding of getting Sylvester McCoy drunk at a Panoptica once. How long did it take, Funky? And how many rounds did you go with 7? I think it could have been a while. Boomer Doug is in the live chat. Hi, Doug. And Richard Brooks. Yes, there's still people arriving, people getting up, all that kind of thing. Good stuff. We'll keep watching. See how that develops with the next Gallifrey 1 convention, and we'll almost certainly, it's doubtful that I'll make it next year. I would like to go, though. I definitely would like to go. So maybe one day, if I try and get there before they turn it into a big, horrible corporate thing, Charlotte, I think that would be ideal. But let us know your Gallifrey 1 experiences there in the comments on YouTube and Rumble, Facebook, and X. If you'd like to share some of your memories, your pictures, or your confessions, you can do that too as well, and we'll keep it to ourselves, we promise. Okay, where next? I think it's time to wrap up. There's Fraser in his younger days. Couldn't possibly have imagined that his Doctor Who journey would take him to LA and the outside of a few beverages, could he? But thanks again, everybody. How about we finish off with a blast of this?
This is Lord President Rassilon. Due to the interference of that idiot renegade, the Doctor, the universe is collapsing. Unfortunately, the Time Lords have no answer for this, and I am forced to call upon the services of Type 40 Podcast.
How did that go down? Is that all right? A lot better than Phil's chicken wings, I suspect. How are you getting on, Phil? Have any of them survived? Have you found out what killed it yet?
Phil's been messaging me halfway through, sending me like something about Swansea Film Festival from years ago. He's like, "Oh, you should watch this." I was like, "I'm definitely on the podcast. I'm definitely on a live stream, not a podcast." Sorry, Dan. Please. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Okay, just time enough left to remind you that if you want to reach out to us, you can do it through the usual places. Stare us in the face, Instagram and X at Type 40 Doctor Who. You can join us in the Type 40 Facebook group. As ever, get involved in a debate, share your memories, your pictures, your confessions from Gallifrey 1. Do that if you like. Or, wade in with one of our many reviews as we pass the time that this year where Doctor Who seems to be on standby for an extended period. You can, if you want to be really discreet, you can drop us a message, any kind of feedback or confession through SpeakPipe as well. The link is in the video description. As always, you can get involved with the podcast and the live stream right there. Check out all of our Doctor Who related content. So we're bringing it because they can't be asked until Christmas. That's how we look at it. So hit up the playlists there for earlier editions of this show, all our various live streams, not just our sort of news reaction shows, but our big reports on specific topics and our event shows as well. More of those coming up in the near future. We've got quite a list of things to cover. And will you be amazed what you can root out from the various crevices of the Doctor Who universe on Type 40 Live on Rumble, X, YouTube and Facebook. There's the Type 40 podcast too across all major podcatchers. So if you're on Audible and Spotify, use Apple or Amazon Music, we're there too. Catch up on the full playlist there, all our reviews, previews, interviews, geek outs and deep dives. And then by the time you've done all of that, meet us back here, top up your mug, get the Jaffa cakes out, and we can go again. Whew. Great show. Thank you, everybody. I've had a brilliant time. We've covered a lot of ground to LA and back, Charlotte.
Yes, we have.
And lots of great comments.
Good chat.
Too. Yeah, so we've all been in good voice, Luke, but there's been lots of great comments as well. And they're still coming as well as people in different hemispheres are starting to wake up. People like Doug. So we'll have to do there's Phil. I think he's finished because he's able to text. He's texting again.
The wobbly the grease off of his phone.
Yes.
Wobbly stuff. I don't want to know, do I?
Lord Rassilon. It was Lord Rassilon's wonky ball.
I do want to say though, since we started talking about started the show talking about Big Finish's new 10-year contract, that if they ever, with all that time, if they ever want to do a Type 40 drama series, I think I speak for us all in saying we would be available to play ourselves. If they wanted to do a Type 40 drama line.
I would want mini pies, pork pies, and sausage rolls.
He's got a rider. David Milling's got a rider already, Luke. I can't say I'm surprised, but
maybe an egg custard tart as well.
Thank you again for your company, David. I hope you've had a good one. I know you've had a rough week, but I hope we've performed our degree of pain relief there after your trip to the dentist. Glad you could make it. Hope to see you again next time.
Yeah, be back next time. I hope the antibiotics worked. And then 2 weeks today, I have the wonderful joys of first stage root canal exploration, shall we just say.
Thoughts and prayers, everybody, please.
Thoughts and prayers. But thank you. Been lovely, and lovely to see the Madonna TARDIS again.
Gary, again, mate, thanks for coming on. Hope you've had a good time. And
as always,
lots of memories on Earth from your times visiting Gallifrey 1 as well.
It really was seeing the different. It really does, because I remember like the good times when. And I'm sure it was good for everybody who went this weekend, but no, just seeing the different shots around the hotel and stuff. Yeah, it does bring back a lot of memories.
Luke, he's thinking, can I save up enough now between now and next February to get to Gallifrey 1? You must be wanting to go there.
I do want to get hooligans there. Let's do another round of hooligans and screen out a Gallifrey 1. Why not? That's the goal. So
there you go. Have a word with Sean. See what you do. Yeah, you never know, do you? In the meantime, though, you got to slum it with us in the rain and the fog, the pressing sports results.
I know. Yeah, Wales are playing France on Sunday, so it's another battering. England are playing Scotland on Saturday, so that's going to be fun. So I can't wait for that. And I got a new sofa and a washing machine. What a time to be alive! Oh, wow.
You're winning, mate.
Get yourself down to Bunny Jackson's.
I will.
And then make sure you're back here for the next one too. Of course, more Type 40 Live. Charlotte, we're going to be more of our customary no holds barred coverage of the Doctor Who universe, and no party lines. We're not like Pete McTighe here. No party lines, no beef, and no bullshit. Just taking comments, rants and raves, and all opinions aired. Thank you again, Charlotte. We'll see you next week as well, won't we? Do you want to say goodnight to everybody?
Yes, I do have to go. And I lasted properly this time.
We're literally
20 minutes to go.
We're about to push the button. No.
No, so good night, everybody. See you all very soon.
Good night. Good night. Good night, Charlotte. And good night to everybody. We always have the time, if you have the space, of course, here at Type 40 Live. We'll see you next time for more. Take care.